Stamps. I'm gonna go shopping for stamps. I like shopping for stamps. I just go into the post office. Steve, are you going to go stop? You gonna go shop for stamps like me?
Well, I'd love to, but I don't know where to go, Colin.
Well, I'm gonna go to the post office and wait in line for 3 hours and ruin my day. But you know what? I love just mailing packages so much that I'm gonna waste my life doing this until there's a better way.
That sounds like a sad, sorry existence.
In fact, I love stamps so much, I'm going to get that domain. I'm going to register the domain, stamps.com. And wait a minute.
You can't do that.
What, someone else already has this? What, they don't care about stamps. In fact, according to this, they're telling you not even to go to the post office. They're telling you to just print out your own postage, put it on the package, hand it over to the mailman, and it just takes care of itself. And they're even giving away $5 of free postage if you sign up to stamps.com. Okay, maybe they do actually love stamps. Maybe they do love mailing postage as much as I do. And I'm sure you do too, Steve.
More than anything in the entire world.
Oh, wonderful. Well, I tell you what. Let's just go kick back and have a few brewskis. And we'll leave the rest of the work to stamps.com and get $5 of free postage. Because I'm signing up today.
Sounds good. Let's have a Schlitz.
This week on the PRESSURECAST, Doom 4 comes to E3, Need for Speed gets a tune-up, and YouTube takes on Twitch. Plus, impressions of Witcher 3 Wild Hunt and Hyperdimension Neptunia U Action Unleashed. It's Monday, May 25th, 2015. Everything happening in the world of video games is here, now, on the PRESSURECAST. Live from the 52nd floor of VideoGamesAreDumb.com Industries, it's the 79th episode of the PRESSURECAST. How you doing out there? This is Colin, 2 coffees, Tanner, and as always, I'm drinking 2 coffees. I'm living this gimmick as far as I can take it. And across from me, Steve, Cuff.
Hey, how's it going, Colin?
It's going good, Steve.
McGriddles or die, motherfucker.
McGriddles or die! Represent. Yes, we're McGriddling our own McGriddle. Video game McGriddle, that's what I say. The old phrase, the old catchphrase.
It's when you open up a CD case and it's full of delicious maple syrup.
Yep, as is the common instance for many of our listeners and the hosts. So much to get to this week. We are ramping up to E3!
Oh my god.
I can't wait for E3. I literally get, I can feel it physically. It's not just emotionally. It affects, I have a little skip in my step because I want to see somebody go on stage and have nothing work. And them having to look around and be paranoid. Do you remember their, I think it was 2013, they had the guy come out for Battlefield 4. He walked out and nothing happened. And he just stood out there and he went, don't worry, guys, I'm fine. And the audience laughed, and he goes, what? We're doing it later? Oh. He walks off stage, and then he stopped. He turns around and goes, what? And then it just goes dark and starts playing the video without sound. It was the most painful thing.
That's beautiful.
These people are not actors.
I just like when they show a gameplay demo, or they're doing a gameplay walkthrough thing, and they're actually playing the game live, and then it crashes or glitches out or something horrible happens, and that's just... It's beautiful.
Basically, Ubisoft every year.
Yeah.
Ubisoft every year.
Well, and hey, this is going to be the best E3 ever, and not because I care about, preview footage and hype train bullshit. It's because Cisco is going to be at E3.
Are you serious?
As in the thong song.
Cisco is going to be...
The Cisco.
You don't have to specify which Cisco. If you say Cisco, I know which Cisco, sir.
Well, I mean, I didn't know if you thought I meant the communication company or something.
No, there's only one Cisco. That is so exciting. I can't wait for E3. Well, I mean, I hope we make it. I'm not really positive if E3 is even going to happen because the Earth is in danger. Because it's the earth-shattering stories. We're talking about the biggest stories this week in video games, or as some people like to say, in gaming. The biggest stories in gaming this week. there. Now that I've offended all the listeners, there's really not a whole lot to talk about this week. But I did think it was worth mentioning right off the bat that Bethesda has confirmed Doom, or Doom 4, whatever they're going to call it, is going to be at E3 the Sunday night. So basically -0 or -1, whatever day you want to call that, where they will be showing off the gameplay premiere of the new Doom. They did release a trailer earlier this week. It was 10 seconds long. It involved a skeleton with shoulder cannons.
Yeah, that's what it looked like.
And
it seemed like pre-rendered footage, not gameplay stuff. So, I mean, what can you say?
I'll give them the benefit of the doubt and say it is gameplay, just because I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. I mean, Rage looked incredible when it came out, you know?
Yeah. As much as I hate that game, it sure did look pretty.
You didn't like Rage?
No, all 9 discs of it or whatever it was.
It was 3 discs on Xbox 360. What did I play it on? I played it on PC, and maybe that might have tainted my view because it looked a lot better. I don't know. I really like the art of Rage. I thought it was very, people always say the graphics, but I'm talking about the art and presentation, design of creatures, design of characters, and also had John Goodman in it, so obviously 10 out of 10.
Yeah, can't go wrong.
Yeah. But they also showed off footage. Well, they didn't show off footage. Someone released the demo reel for the original version of Doom 4. Mark Bristol, who was the art director and lead writer and cinematic director, he had on his LinkedIn profile. So we got a good look at that. And man, it was like a big city. It looked a little like Call of Duty. It really did. I mean, that was Call of Doom was always the rumored name for it.
Well, they've had a series of false starts with this thing. I mean, it's not like Duke Nukem Forever levels of redevelopment, but it's been through a lot, quite a bit.
Bethesda even said this is from a game that doesn't exist anymore. That's their comment.
Yeah.
Why I bring this up is because Doom as a franchise, I mean, Doom started first-person shooters. Now, it wasn't the very first first-person shooter game. I mean, obviously, Wolfenstein would come out way before that.
And hey, id Software's first title, Catacombs.
Oh, wow, Catacombs. Good, good reference there. But the thing is, there's a reason we called first-person shooters Doom clones. For nearly 6 years after that game came out, Doom is very important to the history of video games. It's a known property. That's why they're making it. We know that. But what should Doom be? I hate to propose that question, but Doom as a series, it started off, you ran around and you shot things and you shot barrels, and it was incredible. And then you ordered discs from Apogee, or discs. What am I talking about?
Yeah.
Floppy disks.
Well, and the problem with coming out with Doom 4 and asking the question of, like, what should Doom be is, I mean, if you want it to just be like a purist shooter, you know, sort of in the vein of the original Doom, but with shiny graphics and more going on.
Serious Sam
have
almost?
That. Yeah, Serious Sam, Hard Reset, Painkiller, things like that have sort of done Doom Plus in, the last decade. So I don't know what Doom should be. Hopefully not Doom 3, because a lot of people really didn't like Doom 3.
Yeah.
Although I didn't mind it. I enjoyed it when it came out however many years ago.
It's always been weird. Doom 3 just felt like it was trying to be Half-Life in a way. And, Doom right now, they try to be Call of Duty. At this point, is there a particular franchise they should be emulating? Should they, I mean, honestly, I'm sure you would like it to be procedurally generated, like Tower of Guns and everything else.
No, I don't think that would work. I think one of Doom's greatest strengths has been its level design. And whenever Doom is in pure Doom mode, that's when it does the best. I mean, if you look at some of the way that id sort of diverged in the years after Doom. So you have like Quake and Quake 2, which I think were the natural evolution of the Doom formula.
Great games.
And then you have them going off and doing things that sort of betray their earlier roots and show that as developers they're not infallible. So things like Daikatana and Rage.
When they went their separate ways, certainly. When John Carmack remained, and that's just the part of it that bothers me, though, is that we've lost both of the creators of Doom, or even that smaller team. I'm sure there's a few people still hanging around there, but without John Carmack, it just doesn't feel as exciting to me. The idea of another Doom game. I mean, Rage, for whatever it was, I knew John Carmack was a madman and creating this whole new graphics engine and. What was that? Mega textures, just these far out concepts.
Yeah.
But now it's like, well, this is almost like when people said, oh, the new Wolfenstein. Well, it's not the original Wolfenstein, people. Well, now here's Doom, and it has nothing to do with the original creators and probably won't have anything to do with the original game. I mean, can it?
Not really. And that's okay, because if you boil down the core Doom experience, why it's so much fun, it's just great feeling guns, great level design, and kind of cool art. And that's about it. That's all you need.
Favorite monster of Doom? Let's go.
Oh, Jesus.
You don't need to know the names. But, like, I will say it's that big floating meatball.
Oh, the meatball is good. I like the floating meatball, and I like the big devil guy with the horns.
Oh, the cyber demon.
Yeah, cyber demon.
God, and someone put it up on Reddit, I think it was. They were showing off all their boxes of video games. They had, like, Doom 2. Those were the best covers. Like, I mean, it looked like a point-and-click adventure game, but badass.
Oh, and Doom 2 had, like, the weird-shaped box, too. It was
it
was like a
coffin.
triangle with the top hacked off.
That's right. God, I love old PC boxes. Those are the best. I still got my Day of the Tentacle and all of those. But I guess we'll have to wait and see. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, there's that Doom multiplayer beta that apparently I have access to because I bought Wolfenstein. We'll see if that ever comes to fruition or if they'll even use those codes or just simply have an open beta. I mean, apparently multiplayer is going to be, if that's any indication, a huge component of it, though Doom has never had multiplayer that has been wildly popular. I mean, sure, connecting phone lines and playing Doom 2 together was a thing.
Yeah. I'd say it hasn't been popular since then, basically.
And I don't even know if Doom 3 had online play for PCs. I know it did on Xbox Live.
Yeah, I never played online with the PC version.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, I mean, honestly, just don't make it a linear, like, corridor shooter a la Call of Duty, and you'll be fine.
Maybe they can incorporate, like, almost like GoldenEye and have objectives. You know, because that was always my favorite part about GoldenEye.
Yeah, that'd be fun. I mean, yeah, there's plenty of different directions they can go in. Now, this thing that they're doing for E3, is this a closed press event? Because I remember reading about that, but I don't know if that's still the case.
That's the problem with the Bethesda. I remember they said that they were going to be showing off Fallout 4 to a closed number of people, but as far as I know, their event is public. Okay. That they will have cameras there, they will have journalists there, people are going to be live tweeting and doing everything there. But the rumor is that Fallout 4 will be shown behind closed doors, but that's still a rumor. I doubt they would do that. I think they want to have a big reveal.
Especially if Guillermo del Toro is tied to the trailer. That's a total waste of money. Here, we just paid Guillermo del Toro $1 million for 20 people from, like, Polygon and Kotaku to look at for 5 minutes.
And them going, all right.
Yeah, it's going to be cool.
Yeah, like 8 out of 10, sure. Polygon.com, 8 out of 10. No disrespect to Polygon. I always see people online bitching about Polygon. It's so funny. They're such a small site. And no disrespect to Polygon, but they're small. Let's face it. But if you bitch about them and moan about them like they're these ivory tower people that are just, burning millions of dollars, it's like, really, you think that guy's pulling in more than, maybe maximum $60,000 maximum?
I mean, for their, like, editor-in-chief, I doubt he's even making that.
Yeah. Drives me nuts. Chill out. Don't go to Polygon if you don't like it.
No.
Just relax.
Yeah, if you don't like Kotaku reviewing Oreo cookies from Japan, don't read the articles.
Yeah.
You're fine.
Oh, my God.
Life goes on.
Yeah, seriously. Do you realize if you work on a website and you follow news and you have to write news, some days there's nothing to write about.
Mm-hmm. And hey, who needs Polygon and Kotaku when you have videogamesaredumb.com? And for all your editorial content, you can go to optimismvaccine.com.
I'm still working on that website is so not done yet. It's just a bunch of big pictures and stuff. I don't know. I got to work on that website. Let's move over to somebody that is getting to work on something fast, if you know what I mean.
Oh. Need
for Speed is officially going to have its full reboot out later this fall. We're going to have a ton of information at E3, but Mark Nielsen, not to be confused with Harry Nielsen, the general manager of Ghost Games, he is talking a lot about what we can expect from this next iteration of the Need for Speed series. He discussed that they took the year off simply because that they needed that time. They said they wanted to really evolve the series. They wanted to make, as they say, a very specific game. Here's his quote. To build that specific game, we needed time and needed to understand from fans what type of game you want us to build. So, what we've been doing in this year off is we've been trying to understand what people think Need for Speed should be standing for. Very vague statement, but what they've come to the conclusion is open world, and that it will actually have a 24-hour cycle. The sun will go down and the moon will go up, and eventually someone will leave with the cup. But they'll also have deep customization and an immersive narrative.
Oh, boy. I'm sure that'll be great. Because that's what I really need is the immersive narrative.
What was that? Need for Speed, The Ride? What was it?
Wait, is that the one where you can get out of the car or whatever, and they were teasing that for a long time.
Yeah, it was the one that was
Need for Speed Parkour Edition.
Yeah. We were running from the cops. It has like a story mode. Oh, it was actually I have the exact name of it right here in this quote from Nielsen. We're taking a very innovative approach to how we tell a story. That's actually probably as much as I can tell you at this time. If you just go back 3 years with Need for Speed The Run, there were stories in Need for Speed. Absolutely not the best executed stories, but we had stories. And I think a missing piece from the last games we had have been narrative. I think we can deliver a better game to our fans if we connect them emotionally through story.
Oy. So this is two weird trends going on in racing games. One, the open world concept for every racing game is just, it's, I don't know, taxing.
The crew.
Yeah, the crew. And then the story thing, which also the crew. Why do you, don't do it, man?
It's ridiculous. I mean, here's my concern. I think every video game story should at least take a look at God of War, because I think it does a really good job of engaging the player. Yeah, it's just him screaming and yelling. But then when you take control, you almost role play. You're like, yeah, I'm screaming and yelling too. I'm smashing shit, you know? But then there's also those points where it's like, hey, Kratos' family was killed. And it's like, oh, that sucks, man. You know, it's very juvenile, written for a 13-year-old. Like, honestly, my problem is that games fluctuate for who they're writing for so consistently that they can never actually just establish an emotional core. Like God of War, whatever you think about the story, it's established. Kratos mad, Kratos smash. It's written for 13-year-olds. But then you've got other games like Bionic Commando in 2008 where it's like, I'm a cool, badass soldier. Oh my God, my wife is my arm. And you're like, whoa, slow down. Wait, what happened? Like it ranges from writing for 13-year-olds to writing for 45-year-old guys that read science fiction. And so if they're going to write this, if they pick a demographic and just go with it and keep it consistent and something that's appropriate, where it's like, yeah, I want to drive the car. Whatever that narrative reason is, it has to make me want to drive the car real fast and get in first place.
If you're playing Need for Speed or any racing game, whether it's Forza or Gran Turismo, I mean, you want to drive fast and win the race,
yes,
right?
Okay.
Like, I can't think of a single instance where I've sat down to play a game like Gran Turismo and I'm like, you know, this would be better if I had like a deeply involved narrative.
I mean,
and you know it's going to be something stupid. It's going to be like, oh, and then the mob killed his son, and he's got to race for revenge.
All right, you know, let's do it.
Quote me on this one. If that's the story, I win $1 million.
That actually is the basically storyline for the crew. I'm not kidding. Except it was his brother, and he got pinned for a crime he didn't commit, and then the government got him out of jail so that he could race cars. God damn it, the crew. All right. Let's actually pitch a few stories for Need for Speed right now. I think I got one that's good. Mm-hmm. What about just having a rival racer who's like, you're like a street tough, you know, you're a racer, you've got like a heart of gold.
Are you doing like 80s teen movie here?
Yeah. But the other guy, he's got it made. He's got millions of dollars. Mm-hmm. He's just in it because he's having like a midlife crisis, but he can afford all the best gadgets. And to be fair, he's actually a pretty good racer when it comes down to it. But he's snarky and he's mean and he doesn't have the same heart that you do. And you know, and he'll ram people off the road, and you're like, hey, that's breaking the rules, but he doesn't care.
Something tells me they're going to use shitty video game storytelling bingo. Just like, oh, you killed the kid. Cover his face. You killed the protagonist's love interest. Cover his face. Somebody's been double-crossed. Cover his face.
I just hope that they know, like, I would try and make the story somewhat goofy. Like, if the villain of the story is involved in, like, dogfighting, it's like, oh, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, actually, I just thought of a racing game with a story that I care about, and that would be the last Driver game, Driver San Francisco.
Oh, that is
because that was so ridiculous, and it's so good.
You're in a coma, and you're teleporting between other people.
It's incredible.
Literally cars getting hurled at you by the last hour of that game. I mean, narratively, I think all they need to do is entertain. Emotion is great, but I think you're going to need a smaller title to really
hire David Cage.
Yeah. I mean, even something like BioShock Infinite, which had one of the better stories, or the original BioShock, it's a very grandiose, very silly story if you break it down. It just has the production values to match that.
Yeah.
Whereas I think if you're going to tell a personal story like a Gone Home, you need a smaller title. You can't be having all that money because it's more in service of the gameplay. The gameplay has to come first for a AAA title. Always. Independent titles, it can be either or, you know, even though I love stories. But what can they do to make me want to race the car?
I don't know.
What if there's like some cinnamon toast crunch at the end of the at the finish line, and you want to get that cinnamon toast crunch or corn pops? You gotta have the pops.
Just do a remastered version of Burnout Paradise. That'll make me want to race the car.
It's just you unlock Burnout Paradise.
Yeah.
When you beat the game, that's good. Let's go to the last earth-shattering star. I just changed it up a little bit.
Sloth-esque there.
Yeah. One of the most expensive and largest sets ever in a movie is that ship. And
oh,
yeah.
I could see that.
I just found out about that.
One-Eyed Willie's ship.
Yeah. One-Eyed Willie.
It's a penis joke inside of a kid's movie, kids.
Yeah. Oh, they're just smoking and holding guns half the movie, so why not? YouTube is going to be adding 60 frames a second live stream functionality, which is a huge deal. They, of course, almost bought Twitch last summer.
Mm-hmm.
Something happened. We don't know. Amazon eventually picked it up. And now we're down to YouTube saying, okay, we have HTML5 compatible browsers out there. This is more widely used. They now allow like 1080p 60 frames a second on mobile devices because I was watching my own videos because, 60 frames a second. That's what I do. Go to youtube.com/videogamesardumb to watch more of it. Ooh, it feels so good to say. Ooh, I want to give myself a hug. I got my own URL finally. So, 60 frames a second live streaming. No word on what kind of resources you're going to need to have to actually upload at that speed.
Sure.
So, as a streamer, that's one thing. But there's enough people out there that can stream just fine. As an audience, I think that's incredibly compelling to have 60 frames a second, especially when you're watching something like Dota or League of Legends. Even though, of course, Steam has its own built-in browser streaming thing. Video games. So I don't know. YouTube seems to be taking this live streaming idea very seriously, and by adding 60 frames a second, they are not hiding their intention of going after the video game market for streaming. Should Twitch be worried about this?
I would be, yeah. Well, first of all, I mean, if you look at the top content on YouTube, it's always video games, always. I mean, with the exception of, the weekly viral video or whatever, somebody's
Charlie bit my video game.
Charlie bit my video game.
Bit my Xbox.
So, I mean, they have a huge video game audience. But what YouTube really offers that Twitch can't offer people is it just makes the whole experience of uploading things and doing all of your, channel work a lot easier. So you do have people that are dedicated streamers right now. And then you have dedicated YouTube people, but you also have like a growing community of people who do a little bit of both.
Right.
So you have guys that are huge on Twitch and huge on YouTube, like Northern Lion. He does a lot of Binding of Isaac.
The rare exception.
Yeah. So for people like that, it's great because now it's like, well, I don't need to necessarily go on Twitch all the time. If I can put all my content on YouTube, then it'll be a lot easier. Like I record the OpVatcast, the podcast that I do.
Yeah.
Plug there.
Wasn't that on iTunes?
It is on iTunes.
Where else is that?
You can get it on Stitcher, I think. You can get it on, you can just go to OptimusVaccine.com.
I gotta get you on that TuneIn Radio, bro.
Yeah, I gotta get on that TuneIn Radio. But anyways, I do that through YouTube. I use Google Live Chat or whatever the hell it's called, and then we record, and it automatically uploads to YouTube, and then it gives me a download link, and I can edit the content. So with things like that, it just streamlines the whole process for me.
Right.
So if you can give me a suite of free tools that are all under the same umbrella, and it streamlines the whole process, then yeah, I think that's great, and especially if it's offering a higher quality than Twitch TV. Now, for a lot of people, though, they have embedded audiences on Twitch, so that's a problem.
Well, I agree there, but the reason why I think Twitch should be nervous is because this is not, it's not like blip.com. It's someone heavily established. YouTube is heavily established. Everyone that goes to Twitch goes to YouTube. 100%. I guarantee you 100% crossover. But not everyone that goes to YouTube goes to Twitch. So inviting that audience over there, it's not something bizarre. It's not like, oh, yeah, what was the website that the guy's moving to? Everybody knows YouTube.
Yeah.
And I think it'll be a hell of a lot easier to bring that audience in. Plus, as my experiences when I was streaming a little bit of Yakuza on, I streamed it on Twitch and then I streamed it on YouTube, I noticed that the YouTube servers were just perfect. Very little fluctuation. It was so easy to predict exactly what my bitrate needed to be. So as a user, that was excellent. But I have to wonder, if you look at Xbox and if you look at Sony, you press the share button. Hey, what are you going to stream to? Ustream or Twitch? Like, Google needs to, although I question whether or not the hardware could keep up with it, needs to somehow integrate their service in there, regardless of it the 60 frames a second or not, because they've already said they're going to allow 30 frames a second, obviously, and including viewers that are watching 60 frames a second content, they can bump that down if they wish. So hopefully Google recognizes that they need to get into consoles, like mandatory.
Yeah, I think the console thing would be a huge coup, and the other thing they need to look into, not that I should be giving Google business advice, but I think they need to look into getting some events like, Dota tournaments, League of Legends tournaments, even like games done quick is a big thing on Twitch. It's like, I think they do it twice a year or something.
Beautiful.
It's like a fundraiser thing. Yeah, it's so much fun to watch. If you can get these big events and make them exclusives for YouTube and work on the console integration, then you're not giving me a reason to go to Twitch TV, which that should be your goal.
And at the end of the day, that's all that Twitch really has to offer is video game content. They said they're going to branch out. They're going to have different types of shows. Whatever.
Well, and even, you know what? Twitch is, and YouTube too, they're starting to get more competition from other outside sources, like that new app Periscope. Are you familiar with that?
Are we really going to call that competition?
Yeah,
just because Tyler Breeze used it 1 week for his ring entrance.
No, but I mean, with things like Periscope and stuff like that, you have all these other like micro video content creators in the social media realm that are starting to take little pieces of the pie. So yeah.
I'm excited to see where this is going to go. I think competition is always a good thing, and having competition for Twitch would be great because honestly, I think Twitch offers an inferior product. When I look at YouTube streaming, and I've used it, it is better for the streamer. The quality is higher for the viewer. If you're talking 60 frames a second, it's no duh. This is a better product. And YouTube is... Twitch, just look at the interface to Twitch. It's barbaric. It's just gray boxes. There's trying to, scrub through a video is garbage. It doesn't look right.
It's tough too. Like if you just want to like stream really easily and you're not on like a PS4 or something, if you want to do it from the PC, it's not something like you just don't go to Twitch TV and then you're like, oh, that was easy. I got it set up in 5 minutes. So if YouTube can make it user friendly, then I'm not going to fuck around with Twitch because I don't want to goof around with like, oh, open broadcast over here and this there and that there.
You're still going to have to mess around. Well, what I did is I messed around with Open Broadcaster when I used it, and they give you one-time codes, which does make it a little bit more difficult, to be honest with you. But I swear the service is impeccable. Forget about Google Hangouts is one thing. I've used that too. Wait till you stream with this and actually watch. If let's say you're using Open Broadcaster, because you can actually watch that bit rate. It's so steady. It's frightening. It's beautiful.
So yeah, I think that's another thing too they have to consider is like remove third-party software from the equation. Like just make it easy for me to go to youtube.com, hit a couple of buttons, set some shit up, and start streaming.
I agree. I wonder if they will be able to. I wonder how they're going to pull that off. Because at that point they're actually getting involved in hardware because you'd have to, if you're using capture devices, having to use this maybe a YouTube app would be the solution.
Yeah, something.
Well, the Earth is destroyed because that was the earth-shattering stories. I like doing that. I'm going to start a new podcast where I just do that voice.
Fucking Dick the Bruiser voice over here.
Welcome to the podcast. This week we're going to be talking all about ham sandwiches. Do you like to use brown mustard or regular mustard? Mustard. Okay, that's it for the earth-shattering stories. Got a bunch more stuff to get to. But I figure we should talk about the games of the week.
Farming Simulator 15.
All right, we're not talking about Farming Simulator.
But you got that cool hat.
I did get a hat from buying Farming Simulator.
From pre-ordering Farming Simulator.
Oh, God, I did.
Yeah, actually, if when you die, I'm going to make sure that I am in charge of your tombstone, and it's going to read Colin Tanner. He pre-ordered Farming Simulator 2015 for the PS4.
And got a hat. You got to add that, because otherwise...
parentheses, and got a hat.
Got a hat out of it. Steve, where do you want to start here? Because we have Hyper Neptunia U Action Unleashed, we have Witcher 3, and you've been playing a lot of City Skylines, which, given how many patches the game has received, for real though, it actually is an updated impression, which I think is relevant and important.
I can talk about City Skylines for a minute.
Let's start off with City Skylines.
It's the best SimCity game ever made, and it's not a SimCity game, so that's pretty awesome.
What are your experiences with city building games overall?
Overall, I played, what's the most recent SimCity? I guess it was in like 2012? 12?
Yeah, the online one. Okay.
Yeah, that one is horrendous. It was completely unplayable for months, and even when it became playable, it was just like, it's okay. Before that, I played SimCity 2000 religiously. Like that was my game.
Do you know that they had SimCity 2000 on the 64DD?
Yeah, I did. I actually saw a video of it, and you could like go down to the street level and like walk around.
That is so fucking cool. That is the coolest thing ever.
Yeah, so City Skylines is awesome because it addresses all of the issues that people had with the new release of SimCity. In addition to that, it also adds a lot of little things, and you can basically build anything you want.
Right.
Which is ridiculous when you think about it.
I mean, are you literally creating shapes and stuff like that?
No, I mean, you can download, and that's the other thing, too. Anything you can't do in the base game, there's so much Steam Workshop content and so many, like, patches and stuff that you can download terraforming stuff and, like, I don't know, you can make a giant stone penis if you want to.
From what I understand, a lot of those Steamwork mods, are necessary if you want to get the most out of this game.
Yeah, I mean, I've been playing with just the vanilla version.
Oh, wow.
And I don't think it's pretty robust, I think. I'm probably going to install some mods soon. But the cool thing is a lot of the Steam Workshop content. So when the Maxis studio, whatever was it the main Maxis studio? I don't know. The one that got shit-canned.
It was the original Maxis studio.
Yeah, the one that got shit-canned. A couple of their developers are now just on Patreon. Like
no,
and they're just creating content for City Skylines.
Oh, it's adorable!
It's amazing. It's so great. So yeah, like you can build. Like the other day, I built a city and I created this socialist utopia. So it ran on solar energy, and there were no cars. Like it was all walking paths, and then I had this underground train system, and it's just like nuts. Like all the things you
basically created that Disney city that Walt Disney worked on for like 20 years and never did anything with.
Yeah.
The Disney World city.
It is. It's nuts, but you can do anything. You can do an industrial wasteland. You can do, my socialist utopia.
Well, but you're touching on something here. Is that the economy plays a huge role in this game, correct?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And a big part of the game, too, is they have a zoning tool, so you can create different zones, and then you can set different, like, laws and tax regulations for each individual zone. So, like, I can give tax breaks to, my industrial section for, manufacturing or whatever, and then I can do a bunch of laws that encourage, like, high-price house building in certain districts and, things like that. It's really, really interesting.
So the zones are areas that you're creating for a certain purpose, not zones as in Sonic runs through the zone and gets all the rings.
Although I did think about calling one of my areas Green Hill Zone. Because,
did you really?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Sonic. But yeah, it's amazing. And it constantly surprises me. Like, I've put dozens of hours into this, and I'm always finding something new that I can do. And anything that I can conceive of, I can pretty much do it in the game.
But you can do that in life, Steve. So you got to decide on what you want to do, and you got to just keep it as a secret. And just tell it, you know what, you got to tell yourself you can do it. And before you know it, you built a city. You can build a city in real world,
Hey,
man.
I got to tell you, man, I'm a great city planner, so...
I like the fact that people are always like, why are people playing football games? They should get out there and play real football. You don't hear about that with city design. They're like, why are you sitting there building a city? Get out there and build a city.
Well, plus, you don't have closed head injuries with city design games.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, even if you have, like, if you haven't played a SimCity game since you were a kid or, you're not into the whole sim thing, like, it's so easy to just kind of jump into City Skylines and have a good time with it. So I would highly recommend it. It's one of the best things I've played this year.
How much it cost there?
I think it's $30, which, I mean, a little bit steep by Steam standards.
Did you spend $30 on this game?
I spent $30 on this game.
Because if you spend twice that amount, we could be playing Grand Theft Auto Online with Brandon.
Listen, I get paid June 1st. That's going to be the first thing that I get on June 1st.
I swear to God. That
The moment my paycheck goes through, my final paycheck, I'm going to use a chunk of that money, and I'm going to get GTA Online.
I probably shouldn't talk about GTA Online because it's an old game, but I've been playing with Brandon and a couple of other really great people. Adam, who's a friend of his, and Robert, this really cool guy out of Canada, who... Me and him on the Venn diagram of entertainment, we're like talking about like British sitcoms and stuff. So me and him get along just fine. But most importantly, me and Brendan do not. We are at war with each other. You see, he likes to commit crimes in Grand Theft Auto, and I am the savior of the good people because I have a bat, and I am the Batman. And I also have a borderline indestructible vehicle that can basically go anywhere. So long story short, it just involves me going. Da, na, 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 and running after him and trying to find a way, despite all of his gadgets, to kill him with a bat, no matter what he's doing. And let me tell you, that is when you make your own fun. I love Grand Theft Auto Online. I'm just running after people that are committing crimes as soon as they pop up on Grand Theft Auto Online. Because if someone commits too many crimes, they go, this guy's going berserk. You'll get $5,000 if you kill him. I don't just go out there and and try and punch him or whatever. I get out there with my bat. And if I kill him with my bat, I deserve it. Because Batman doesn't use guns. So... Yes.
I'm definitely going to, that's
so
on the list
fun.
of purchases for me.
So much fun. Anyway, let's talk about the actual biggest game of the week. That would be Witcher Wild Hunt, not Witcher 3. Let's not get confused here. They don't call it Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. So don't get confused with Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. It's Witcher Wild Hunt. It is the third entry in the Witcher series.
I hate the name Wild Hunt because when you say it too fast, it sounds like some sort of derogatory term.
Listen, you Wild Hunt. Wild Hunt refers to a portal, like an Oblivion-style portal that opens up with ghosts and shit, and they're trying to kill you.
I thought because they were like beasties and griffins and shit.
Yeah, that's something altogether different. Okay, I have not really played...
You're going to Arkham Vision.
Yeah, you actually do go into Arkham Vision. I played a little bit of Witcher 2, maybe about 20 minutes just to test out the combat because I had heard so much about it, so I don't really have any experience with the series. What I'll say about Witcher 3 is it actually does a pretty good job of just saying, hey, here's this guy. He's looking for this thing. Let's go find that thing. And that's how they start off the game. And from there, they just kind of, they introduce a lot of the characters in a dream sequence, which is bogus. But it does a really good job of saying, hey, there's no narrative reason to get all these characters in the same room. But let's just have a dream sequence. And that way, when these characters are mentioned in the narrative, you'll at least have a reference, which is quite smart. So what is Witcher 3? It's basically an open world, kind of like a Skyrim, kind of meets... a third-person game. I won't go as far as to say Batman because in combat, I'm all over the place here. But you basically explore the world. You can collect herbs. You can bump into people that are talking to you, and they'll say, "Oh, my shoes. Oh, I'll go find your shoes." And you go find the shoes, and they go, "Thank you, Witcher," and they give you some coins. So, standard open world fantasy stuff. So nothing you haven't already experienced in like a Bethesda game per se. But the game is centered around nature. You're outside almost the entire game. So the way that, the lighting engine works, because the sun is always, slowly crouching up and then it goes down and then the moon comes out. It's small things like that where you explore the same environment twice and while you can recognize it, certainly, it really does have a different vibe to it. Like you feel like maybe at nighttime that there's a little bit more risk of these creepy things that come out of the water that try and kill you. They're these weird, I don't know what they even call them, drowners, something like that. But yeah, so you just go around, side missions, and then you've got your main mission. What's nice about the game, though, is that the dialogue is really smart, and the characters are even the side characters, really interesting, because there's this giant war going on, but people still have a day-to-day life, which makes it enjoyable. There's, despite a giant war, there's a mission where you have to get this old lady's pan, because somebody ran into her house, and she just wants the pan back for whatever reason. And you go in there, and you find 2 dead bodies. And it turns out the guy ran in there because he's being chased after some murderers, and he stole the pan because he wanted to warm it up with some water to create ink so he could write a confession. So what started off as like, who cares about this pan, turns into like, oh, wow, there's like a whole narrative reason behind this. And it's kind of cool because every single side mission has a really interesting narrative. It's like, oh, okay, well, I have to go stop this ghost. Well, wait, who is this ghost? Why is this ghost here? What did this city used to be? Oh, she used to be in love with this person. And then she got hung by this person. And so to exorcise her, I need to collect a particular trinket. And, it's pretty standard flair, but I found myself really engaged with just the smallest of narrative bits because it feels like these people are alive. They're not. I noticed in a lot of RPGs, especially JRPGs of the the early days, if the king is coming to town and you walk up to a random child, they go, "Oh boy, I hope I see the king." And the next person says something like, "I can't wait for the king to get here." Really boring dialogue. Well, there's this giant war. Well, what do you got to say about this? Somebody burnt down my shack. I think it was this guy. Can you go talk to him? Like, they don't even stop to say, I bet it was because of the war. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's the combat itself, because combat is a pretty big part. It's okay. Long story short, you can do a heavy attack that's a little slower or a light attack. You can dodge out of the way. You can roll out of the way. You can lock onto people. And you can parry attacks. which is kind of boring. What's cool is being able to swap out your magic attacks and being like, hey, I'm going to control your mind, you fight this guy, or hey, I'm going to let you all on fire, and figuring out which weapons and devices work best with the creatures, because you actually go on the menu, you can see, hey, these guys are really weak against this type of bomb. These creatures are really weak against arrows, yada, yada, yada. The problem, because I'm talking about this, and it's all very good. It's hard to express why it's good. It's just like, yeah, the dialogue's really well written. Yeah, I really like running around and solving these tiny missions. Yeah, the world looks really cool, and nature's really beautiful. The problem for this game, and a lot of people have touched on it, they say, oh, the controls are kind of rough, but you get used to them. No, don't get used to them. The controls are inexcusably awful. Some of the worst controls I've ever had. You might be saying, what? Is the A button weird, or you got to hold down a certain trigger? No, just making Garrett walk is a chore. He is the most uncoordinated person in the world. And this is what really pisses me off, is when you're in combat, everything's working fine. Move left, move right, move right. Garrett, basically, if you're in a narrow space, like a bridge or something, and you're just trying to walk in a particular direction, he just starts running like all get out, like, oh, slightly nudged to the left. Oh, I better go left. He's running left. And then you're like, wait, no, I didn't mean you to do that. Oh, I better turn around. It's like a super dramatic turning around animation. It's like, no, go the other way. All right, I'm going the other way. It's like this. It's painful to watch. And it can become really problematic if you're maybe in an environment that you're not supposed to be in, where you're trying to grab something, but you're in a high up place, because fall damage is ludicrous. If you fall even the slightest bit, I'm talking the slightest bit, if you took a fall from 6 feet, you might lose half your health early on. Yeah, which wouldn't be that big of a problem if Garrett could actually just walk in a straight line, but he can't. And just navigating closed environments like bars or whatever, trying to talk to a particular person, pick up a particular item, or interact with a certain object it's so frustrating. I spent a good 3 minutes trying to light a torch because he couldn't just walk slowly. He had to just run at a full sprint at all times, and I don't understand it.
I wonder if that's an issue on the console versions and the PC versions, or I'm not sure. Because I'm guessing you'd have a little bit more control maybe with a mouse and keyboard.
And see, that's the problem, is that he doesn't really pay attention to the camera, so it can't be the mouse.
Okay,
if you pick left, he's going to go there. No matter where you move the camera, he's still moving left. And even if you're using it on a keyboard, that would make it almost more problematic, because the slightest nudge of a keyboard would send him into
a full sprint.
Yeah, where I can't stress this enough. I've heard it a lot, but people kind of gloss over it because they want to talk about how beautiful the game is, or how cool combat is, or how cool the story is, it's all very true. But good God, the basic walking doesn't work, and you're going to be walking all the time. And yeah, when you're in a big open field and you're just going vaguely north, you're just trying to go vaguely to that direction north, it doesn't come into play. But the moment that you have to explore a smaller cave, or light a torch, or, good God, swimming underwater, oh my God, he cannot figure out where he is. You think that he got a concussion before he jumped in the water because he didn't know where up and down is. And I honestly think sometimes, oh, am I not holding the button down hard enough? Wait, what? There's no pressure-sensitive controls on the PS4. Ugh. But that being said, I really like the narrative. Just the entire world is fascinating. Garrett has very cool relationships with characters. He doesn't seem to treat everyone the same. As a Witcher, he has a lot of choices, but he's supposed to be taking money. You're never supposed to do work for free as a Witcher. That's very important. But for me, I always say, keep your coin and have a good life, or whatever. I always do that, And the narrative choice, the moral choices in the game there's no scale where it's you're a good Witcher, now you're a bad Witcher. It's well, how do you want this narrative to work out? It might not be great. Hey, do you want this guy to get arrested? Well, yeah, he committed a crime. And they're all right, hang him immediately. And it's whoa, I didn't say that, but there's nothing you can do now. He's getting hung. So it's you have to live with these consequences, and by removing a morality scale, it kind of impacts you a bit more, where instead of being frustrated by, oh, I lost -5 on my good guy scale, you're just kind of wait, no, I didn't want to actually destroy the ghost. I just wanted to send her into the next life. I feel so bad now. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's so hard to actually describe this game.
Well, it's tough. I mean, it's a big game, presumably. I mean, it's a giant RPG, so.
It's incredibly simple, but I would have to be discussing the story, and I really don't want to spoil the story, but I will say that the basic conversations, Garrett as a character, he's pretty cool. I've heard some people say that the female protagonists are a little underwhelming, maybe a little too sexy in some ways. And I'll agree with that. It does kind of undermine some of these characters. Like, they seem to be very established, but they seem to get nude a lot, But yeah, the entire world is fascinating to go through, and it's just fun to pick up little, herbs and stuff, and then concoct some sort of potion that will help you regain your stamina. I mean, everything functions right, except for that walking, and the performance on the PlayStation 4 gets a little bogged down, especially when it's raining. You're going to be hitting sometimes 20 frames a second, which doesn't look great.
Ouch.
Combine that with his walking animations when it's really choppy, and it can be kind of perplexing to figure out what direction he's looking in. And then there's a card game, but I don't play Gwent. Fuck Gwent. Fuck card games and RPGs. Fuck you, Final Fantasy IX. I love Final Fantasy IX, but God, that card game. Didn't care for it. All right. I feel like I've said a lot and said absolutely nothing about this game.
Well, I mean, you gave a pretty decent overview. I mean, it's broad.
Decent.
It's hard, though, because it's hard to encapsulate a game like that, I think, in just, a little brief blurb. But I guess the real question is, have you played the previous Witcher games?
No.
Okay, so having not played the previous Witcher games, did you feel like you were jumping into the deep end, or was it pretty easy to get right into it?
The only thing I'll say that's wrong with the game is that when you die or when you load up your game, they actually have they explain what's going on with the narrative. Hire a new voice actor. We resume, Garrett. He's going to go talk to this girl, and the girl is this girl is cool, and they're gonna go talk and. And the whole time the music's like, you know what I mean? I don't know. It sounds like an old man got lost in like a symphony. It's really, really, really weird. But yeah, I think it's a really solid title. But some people that have AMD cards on the PC have been having issues with it, and that's really unfortunate. You should have gotten an NVIDIA card, you dummies. No, I'm kidding. Do you know how much that pisses off people? People are so loyal to their video cards.
I don't know why. I own an AMD card because it was cheaper. That's my rationale.
From what I understand, AMD does sound to be a superior card in most areas. We'll get into that when we get to the pressure points later on. Lastly, I do want to talk about Hyperdimension Neptunia U Action Unleashed, which is on the PlayStation Vita. I just want to bring up this quirky series once again that takes place in game industry and is an allegory for the console wars or whatever. I don't know how familiar you are with this series. Video game consoles and the companies are represented by anime girls.
I was going to say, yeah, it's sexy anime girl, like video game in-joke.
Yeah, sometimes they do get kind of sexy, and they have sisters, which I think are the portables, because I don't think Microsoft has a sister in the game. And long story short, this is a hack and slash kind of in the vein of Dynasty Warriors. What's funny about the narrative this time is it's about game journalists. And the game journalists trying to cover these girls, and their battles. And I don't know. One of them is literally Famitsu. Yeah.
Her name's just Famitsu?
Yeah, and in the loading screen, they have the background of Famitsu, and they're like, Famitsu, yeah, we know we're not trying that hard to cover this one up. Like, they just admit it, like, full blown. And it's just really funny to see you actually have to play as the game journalists. And it's funny because the game journalists are actually more powerful than the game companies when you play as them. It's the weirdest thing about this story is sometimes it's hard to figure out what is the allegory for the game industry and what is just generic anime storytelling. And sometimes I can't figure out which is which for, it's like, oh my God, I'm really hurt. And it's like, are you hurt financially? Or is this just because they need a part where one of the girls got hurt? I don't know. It's very difficult to figure it out. But, I mean, all in all, if you like Dynasty Warriors and you like the Hyperdimension Neptunia series, I'd say check it out. I just wanted to bring it up because...
What else are you playing on your Vita right now? Come on.
There's not much really out there right now. It's all downloadable titles, I mean, the backlog for the Vita's fucking crazy. Crazy good. But, man, that Vita's going to be gone. I actually got into a conversation on the internet with somebody about... handheld games.
Wait, on the World Wide Web?
Yes, when asked, hey, are mobile or are phones going to get rid of handheld devices for video game consoles? Handheld video game devices, whatever the word I want to look for. Handheld video game devices. I got nothing. And I was like, yep. And the guy's like, nope. I'm like, well, because that's where everything's already going. But the gamers won't stand for it. And it's like, okay. The gamers won't stand for it.
What are they gonna build a human chain around the Nintendo building? Like what?
Like, Nintendo's even moving mobile, and you gotta be kidding yourself if you think that they're not eventually going to abandon handhelds, because they just don't have the money for them. It makes me sad, but what are you gonna do? Sooner or later, we'll have... I keep trying to explain this. Handheld devices will always exist, and they will run off of, like, Android or iOS. Probably Android.
Probably Android, yeah.
iOS handheld game system. Brilliant. Man, that's gonna do
the
it.
Apple Video Shield.
Oh my God. I'd still say if you can get an NVIDIA Shield for cheap, I highly recommend it, Steve. Highly, highly recommend it. It's awesome. I will show you mine. I have all these import PS1 games on there. It's truly a delight. You got
actually plus it's a good conversation piece.
Oh my God.
If I saw someone on the bus playing an NVIDIA Shield, I would just immediately start talking to them.
It's a really great device, and I highly recommend it to anybody that really gives a shit about video games. Okay. That was fun.
Where are we heading next, Colin?
We are going outside to have some fun in the sun at the Chart Park. This is where we talk all about industry and finances, and we find out which fat cats of Wall Street will be tipping their top hats to Lady Luck. You know, I said that last week, and I just made it up. I was like, you know what? I fucking like that. That's now permanent.
It's staying in.
It's staying in. Let's talk about Take-Two, because they just released their finances for the fiscal year 2015, which ended on March 31st, 2015. Well, it wasn't as good as the previous year. You see, their net revenue was $1.082 billion. Okay?
That's still a lot of money.
Lots of money, but not very good compared to last year's $2.35 billion. Of course, 2014 or 2013, they were incorporating the fall of 2013. That had what's that game? Grand Auto Theft 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, the fifth entry into the Grand Theft Auto series, which made $1 billion in 24 hours on the 360 and PlayStation 3, so it's reasonable that they would not have as much money. They did post their net losses at $242.8 million, which isn't that bad.
No, in the grand scheme of things.
And their net income is $219.2 million. So all things considered, not bad. They, in fact, outlined their efforts to buy back stock. 10 million shares they're trying to buy back, which is good. Mm-hmm. Some people get a little alarmed whenever you hear about that, but that's generally a good thing for companies to buy back their stock, make it more valuable. Mm-hmm. Nothing wrong with that. They also said that they have sold shipped.
Different. Very important.
25 million Borderlands games. The whole series. For the entire length of the series, 25 million units have been shipped. They also said that Grand Theft Auto 5 has sold 52 million.
Oof. Lord, I really am the last person on earth that's going to be buying that game.
Yeah, it's a hell of a title. It's for the, online is, very, very good. But they have outlined that Evolve has shipped 2.5 million copies. They're referring to that series now as a key long-term franchise.
What? No one's playing it.
Yeah. All right, wait, Steve, are you playing it?
No. It's great too, because every once in a while I'll see a little blip of news about Evolve.
Right.
And it's just like, oh yeah, that exists. It's so easy to forget about.
It's a really forgettable game.
Is Evolve the brink of this console generation?
Wow. No, because this apparently will get a sequel. So I don't know if you can count that. Poor Free Radical. We were talking about Need for Speed earlier, right? Well, Marcus Nielsen of Ghost Games, he's the general manager, he actually made a comment about the Need for Speed series in general and how it's been for the past 10 years. Need for Speed 10 years ago sold a lot more copies than it sells now, which means we have a lot of room to move up. We have a globally known brand. It's strong. But I think we have a lot of upside for this franchise based upon getting our details and information and features in order. Need for Speed did sell a lot better 10 years ago because that was the era of Need for Speed Underground, which that was the biggest it ever was. When I talk to Need for Speed fans, they still say that was it, man. That was the golden age, man. That was their peak. I don't know. What was the last Need for Speed you played?
Well, I mean, I played little bits of most of the new ones, but the last one I bought was the original Hot Pursuit on PlayStation 1.
I love that game. That game was incredible.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. But yeah, most of them I just play them and I'm just like, it's kind of like Burnout, but not quite Burnout.
I mean, they've been better. They've been a lot better recently. The last game that came out on the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One It wasn't called Hot Pursuit. I don't remember.
Most Wanted?
Most Wanted. Thank you, sir. Most Wanted was good. It was really good. And hopefully they'll be able to incorporate that online ability with this brand new open world. Hopefully. Let's move over to virtual reality. Palmer Luckey ain't too lucky this week. I'm sure he's not sick of hearing that.
More like Palmer Unlucky, said every headline on every news site.
He's being sued. Sued by who? Total Recall. The film? No, Total Recall Technologies. He is being sued because he was actually hired in 2011, and he's being sued for taking confidential information he learned while working with another company and passing it off as his own. That's not good.
No.
That's not good.
And that's why a woman from Mars with 3 breasts is suing him.
Mm-hmm. Yep. He's going to pull that thing off his nose sooner or later. According to Reuters, throughout the latter half of 2011 and into 2012, Luckey received feedback and information to improve the design of the display. However, Luckey used information he learned from his partnership when he launched a Kickstarter campaign for his own head-mounted display called the Oculus Lift, according to the lawsuit. You know, Oculus just is surrounded by lawsuits. I mean, I know that John Carmack is involved in a lawsuit with Bethesda, because of using similar code. That's what they're claiming, which, code is copyright, for better or worse. It's insane.
Yeah.
I mean, very, very risky right now. I mean, you don't hear these types of stories before Facebook bought them. Just saying.
Yeah, that's how it always goes. I've seen the Social Network movie. I know what happens when you get big.
It's true.
You get sued by twins that like to row boats.
There's no segue for that. Well, actually, there's a boatload of money coming to a investor of Activision. He was apparently suing Activision for their them buying back the percentage of the company that was owned by Vivendi Universal. The judge has awarded $275 million. And part of that is because $72.5 million of it will be going to attorneys that were involved. And that will be calculated at the hourly rate of $9,500. $9,500 an hour.
Man, I should have became a lawyer.
I mean, it's not as much as, say, like a piano tuner makes, but it's pretty darn close.
Yeah, I don't think my liberal arts degree will give me that hourly rate.
Yeah, you never know. You'd be like, I'm a lawyer now. I'm acting as a lawyer. Well, they're not the only people getting sued. Lots of lawsuits this week. Take-Two is actually going to be suing the Big British Castle, the BBC, over their upcoming Grand Theft Auto 5 drama. According to the lawsuit and statement from Take-Two, Take-Two Interactive has filed a suit against the BBC for trademark infringement based off their movie currently titled Game Changer as it relates to Rockstar Games' Grand Theft Auto video game series. While holders of the trademarks referenced in the film title and its promotion, Rockstar Games has no involvement with this project. Our goal is to ensure that our trademarks are not misused in the BBC's pursuit of unofficial depiction of their purported events related to Grand Theft Auto, Rockstar Games.
So wait a second.
We have attempted multiple times to resolve this matter with the BBC without any meaningful resolution. It is our obligation to protect our intellectual property, and unfortunately, in this case, litigation was necessary. I didn't know they contacted the BBC.
Well, there's two things here. So, first of all, this is just a nonfiction documentary style. Okay. So you can do an unauthorized documentary of a subject.
It's gonna be a drama. Remember?
So it's fiction. Okay.
Right? Because I forget what's it. Bill Paxton. Remember? He's gonna be Jack Thompson.
Yeah. Okay, but it's a fictionalized historical biopic thing, right?
Yeah.
So again, going back to the Facebook movie, it's like if they didn't get Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg's okay. I don't know. That's dicey. I don't think you need someone's. Like the Jimi Hendrix movie, that didn't get someone's blessing or something, right?
We are talking about the UK, though, where laws are a bit different. I mean, you can literally sue somebody for an apology.
Well, and then on Rockstar's end, I can see because you need to protect your intellectual property, or else it's not your intellectual property. And that's part of copyright law is if you don't actively pursue things, then you kind of forfeit some of your rights. So my guess is this isn't going to go anywhere. It's just going to be a bunch of litigation, a bunch of bullshit, and it's still going to get made.
Well, and especially it is the BBC, and they just seem to be able to do whatever they want. BBC
is
just
it's a state-run institution.
Here's some Oasis songs in our TV show for no reason. We're not paying them shit. Like, okay.
Yeah. Okay. I don't really see this going anywhere. They're just going to butt heads for a while.
Will they Beavis for a while?
Yes.
Okay, excellent.
Well done.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, over in the UK, they like to buy games. Which games? Well, settle down, children, and gather around the fireplace while I read off the top 10 best-selling games in the UK.
Chimney Sweep Simulator 2015.
Monarchy Simulator. You take a nap for 28 hours.
Charles Dickens Simulator. You have to pay by the minute to play.
Ooh, deep cut. All right, the Battlefield Hardline is number 10. Number 9 is Destiny. Number 8 is Dying Light. Number 7 is Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. Number 6 is FIFA 15. Number 5 is a new entry, Final Fantasy X and X2. Just kidding. It's 10 and 10-2, kids. The HD remaster. Number 4 is Mortal Kombat 10. Oh, I'm sorry. X. My bad. So you got them switched around. Number 3 is Grand Theft Auto V. Grand Theft Auto 5. Number 2 is Wolfenstein The Old Blood, which is pretty good. That's where it's premiering, is at the number 2 spot. And retaining its first place is Project Cars. Very good for them.
Grand Theft Auto V. Almost as good as Grand Theft Auto Ivy.
Oh, my. People actually used to request Grand Theft Auto IV at GameStops.
Yeah. Yeah, Amanda, my girlfriend, used to work at a GameStop, and she said that when Grand Theft Auto 4 came out, people would call her every day and say, hey, you got that Grand Theft Auto Ivy?
Oh, man. I remember I went
it's
to
like a running joke with her and her friends that she used to work with there.
I went to a GameStop once and asked, you got that La Noire? No, it was La Noire.
La Noire.
Yeah.
Quote the Colin, nevermore.
Nevermore. What about Japan,
Hey.
where they have the Neverweight Championship? Well, that's a real championship. It's in New Japan.
It's time for Colin can't pronounce a Japanese name.
Actually, I think I'm good this week.
We'll
because
see.
number 10 somehow still is Dying Light. Number 9 is Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. Number 8 is Xenoblade Chronicles X on the Wii U, which finally came out. Number 7 is Bravely Second End Layer, which is a sequel to Bravely Default, a far cry from its first place position. Number 6 is Mario Kart 8 on the Wii U. Number 5 is Borderlands The Handsome Collection, first-person game.
Yeah, along with Dying Light, too. Very un-Japanese games.
Of course, this 5th place is because it was released this week. It's important to note. Number 3 is Girls Mode 3 Kira Kira Code on the 3DS. Number 3 is Minecraft Vita Edition. Number 2 is Puzzle and Dragon Super Mario Edition on the 3DS. That game is awesome, by the way. I only played the demo, but I had a great time. And number 1 is Final Fantasy 10 and 10-2 HD Remastered on the PlayStation 4. It's important to note that the number 1 selling game only sold 15,913 copies for the week, which is actually kind of bad. I guess it's Golden Week, which is where people buy stuff.
Oh.
I don't know. Let's talk about the best-selling consoles, though. Number 10 is 11,489. Wait, damn it. Why am I saying numbers? Then it goes to new 3DS XL, 11,340. PlayStation Vita at 10,685. Wii U at 6,428. New 3DS at 3,483. PlayStation 3 at 2,964. Surprising bump for PlayStation 3. Then it goes to 3DS XL at 790. A significant drop for that one. 3DS at 742. PlayStation Vita TV at 439.
It's actually up.
And in last place is the Xbox One.
Wait, can I guess?
Okay.
280.
Lower.
220.
Lower.
104.
Up.
150.
Just a tad bit lower.
145.
Tad bit up.
148.
Bingo!
Oh.
148 for the Xbox One.
Awesome. Wow, down. It was over 200 last week.
It was. It was a nice little week for them.
Must be fewer expats coming to Japan.
Yes. And that's going to do it for the Chart Park. The land where money grows on trees. What time we got right now? Where are we at in this show? Oh, we're at hour in. That's good. Well, I guess we'll get to Pocket Talk in a bit, but first let's take a little bit of a break. Steve.
Colin?
Stamps.
Yes?
.com.
That's a website?
.com.
Not .gov.
Not .gov. Not .biz. Not any of those. .com. And not any other words but stamps before the .com. Why, you ask? $5. $5 of what? $5? What do you mean $5? Free $5. Free what? Free $5? What do you mean about that? Free $5 of postage. That's right. With Stamps.com, you can ship packages anywhere in the world by simply printing out your own postage and, taping it to a box. Don't staple it to a box. That's not good. Unless you need air holes for whatever you're mailing. And if you do, maybe Stamps.com isn't the place for you because they don't want to help with that.
Oh my God, all the things I could do with $5 of free postage. I can finally ship pieces of my hair to all those celebrities.
That's an excellent choice. You could ship to California, Florida, Canada, England, Mexico, anywhere you want.
My hair will be everywhere, finally.
It's true. And you're just a hair away from savings by going to Stamps.com, signing up today, and getting $5 of free postage. Don't delay. Get a haircut. Stamps.com. Today.com. Oh, man. So much news to get to still. Little stories. Everybody's going to love the stories. Steve, you do anything exciting this week?
Not really, man. I've just been writing all week. It's horrible.
Yes, I know.
That's all I do. I write and I write and I write and I write.
I just play video games. I try and get out of I try and leave my video game bubble and go elsewhere and try fancy foods. But I have such little time, you know? It's insane.
It sucks. Well, the last couple of days I've had to actually remind myself to go outside so I can remember what sunlight feels like.
Where do I live again? The internet? Well, you saw Mad Max, didn't you?
I did see Mad Max. Mad Max was awesome. Yeah, I loved it. Absolutely loved it.
Like on a scale of not Nicolas Cage, but on a scale of 1 to 72, where would you place it?
Oh, it's got to be a 70 or a 72.
Are you for real?
Yeah, it's
perfect 72.
I mean, I get that we're only in June of the year, but I'd say it's the best movie I've seen in 2015 so far.
What?
It might be the best Mad Max movie, although I have a special affinity for the original.
And Thunderdome. Which is not a great
Tina Turner fan over here.
Dude, okay, that movie doesn't make a goddamn lick of sense, but it's amazing. Like it has all this money and it's trying to be so relevant to pop culture, and none of it made sense then, I assume, and none of it makes sense now.
No. Thunderdome's it's a disaster. I mean, I like all the Mad Max movies. I also like Doomsday, which is the director of The Descent.
Yeah.
It was kind of his homage to like The Road Warrior.
Oh, wow.
Came out in 2006.
Why did they stop making those movies to begin with? Mad Max never seemed to wane in popularity.
I don't know why. Well, I know Beyond Thunderdome was kind of a mess. It cost a lot of money.
Kind of?
And it lost... it was a giant mess. Both like as a film and financially. It didn't do so hot. But yeah, I mean, there's clones of Mad Max coming out of Italy for a very long time. Like that was a huge cottage industry. Like the post, like Ramiro zombie clone movies coming out of Italy. Yeah, it was Mad Max clones after that, and that went well into the 90s. And then after that, the director of the original Mad Max, the guy who wrote it, directed it, did everything, he ended up becoming like a studio guy. Like he did a bunch of children's films, like Happy Feet. You ever seen Happy Feet?
That's the Dancing Penguins.
Yeah, Dancing
That's
Penguins.
The Mad Max guy.
That's Mad Max guy.
What are you
Babe
talking
Pig
about?
in the City.
Who?
Babe Pig in the City.
That movie is incredibly strange.
Yeah, and it's also the Mad Max guy. So
I could totally see like Thunderdome lining up with. I'm not even kidding, because if you've never seen Babe Pig in the City, imagine basically it's a Terry Gilliam film without Terry Gilliam, you know, or whoever directed The Witches. Who was that? I don't remember. That doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Very, very mugging shots, like low camera angles, and just people just putting on these grimaces and just looking down at farm animals running around a imaginary city.
Yeah, well, basically, he did all these studio movies, and like Babe Pig in the City, and he did really well, but he couldn't find financing for this Mad Max movie. So he's had this script for almost 30 years now, just sitting around waiting to get made.
What?
In the late 90s, he was looking to get it made, and he sold the rights to the script to Electronic Arts, and they were just going to make a video game out of it.
I remember that.
And then Interplay folded, and that kind of fell through, and there's a bunch of issues with it, and then the movie never got made, so he just ran into a bunch of hitches. But now, with the success of Fury Road, he's got a sequel already written to Fury Road, because obviously he hasn't been doing shit except making Happy Feet for the past 30 years.
Well, those scripts take years.
Yeah.
And then what do? They
the
dance.
CGI penguin does the mambo.
Oh my
yeah,
God.
so it's great. If you like fun, if you like watching movies where you don't blink, if you thought Age of Ultron is everything wrong with big budget studio action films, you will love Mad Max. Mad Max is pure distilled violence and entertainment.
I would just want to go on record again and saying Age of Ultron is the worst Marvel movie. It is worse than Iron Man 2. It is worse than The Dark World. It is worse than all of those. Haters gonna hate. I'm sorry, but I did like Green Tony Stark. He was kind of cool. And also I like Arrow Tony Stark. He was pretty interesting. I just love how everybody just turned into Iron Man and has all the exact same quips where it's like, well, who's going to say this line? I don't know. Give it to the girl. She'll say that line. Like, Jesus. Write separate characters, Joss Whedon. I feel so bad for Joss Whedon. There's a reason he's leaving.
Yeah.
Because you look at that movie and you're like, yep, that was awful.
The superhero ship is sinking.
Yeah, seriously. And that depresses the hell out of me because I want my Question movie. Yes. Anyway, I love The Question. He's my favorite.
I want a Batgirl movie or a Ms. Marvel movie.
Batgirl movie. Well, we already have Batman and Robin, so you don't.
Well,
need
I mean,
that.
not the Alicia Silverstone one. I want one based on Cameron Stewart's new comic.
Oh, okay. What about? Oh, that's right. Yeah. Or maybe Spider Woman. That'd be cool.
Mm-hmm.
But
How about She-Hulk, man? She-Hulk,
dude. Oh, what was that guy? David Goyer, whatever his name is.
David S. Goyer. Yeah.
Yeah, he was just like, man, they just wrote She-Hulk so Hulk has something to fuck. Like he literally said to, it's like, you dumbass, it's his cousin. There's a blood transfusion. God damn it, David S. Goyer. Where's my next Blade movie? All right. Let's stop talking big. Let's start talking small. Let's get a little tiny with the Pocket Talk.
Yeah, Packet Tack.
I knew that was coming. We are starting off the old Pocket Talk where we talk about everything in mobile and handheld devices. With Iwata. Iwata, of course, is the president and king of Nintendo, and he had this to say about how Nintendo is infiltrating the mobile market. We do these stories pretty regularly because we just don't know what they're going to do yet. So here's a little bit of speculative conversation between Iwata and some interviewer who was hoping to actually get something beyond speculative and information. I think many of you here already understand that while it was simple for many to earn revenue in the beginning just from creating a smart device application, the situation has been rapidly changing, and now, with intense competition, generating revenue on smart devices is no longer easy. I don't think we can realize what we aspire to by simply imitating a past success formula. My understanding of how to succeed in the Japanese market now is to find a limited number of generous consumers who are willing to spend a lot and analyze what encourages them to spend. However, if we did that, I don't think we would be able to entertain hundreds of millions of consumers all around the world or produce large and long-lasting achievements. Is that not nice to hear?
It is nice, because normally when you hear people talking about, like...
Get the microphone, Steve.
Sorry.
You can move it. I don't care.
I'm going to move it a little bit here.
Yeah, move it.
Okay, yeah, normally when
I
you
like
hear
to move
people
it, move
talk...
it.
Oh, God.
Okay.
When you hear people talk about, like, mobile markets and stuff like that, when you're talking about, how do you maximize profits in Game of Wars or whatever it's called, they call the consumers whales, that tiny percentage of a percentage that spends like $3,000 playing Clash of Clans every month or something.
It's insane.
Like
literally upwards of $10,000.
Which is sort of disingenuous to think of, like, you're calling your player base whales and you're talking about strategies for exploiting them further, and that's kind of gross. Whereas Nintendo, and this kind of speaks to their broader philosophy, is they've never been about milking something until it's dead. Like they're always thinking about the future, about longevity. That's why, most video game series don't last longer than like a decade or so, because I mean, do you think we're going to have Assassin's Creed games in 10 years? I bet not. It's going to, like, fall apart, or it'll be a shell of its former self.
We got to table that conversation. We could go on and on about that.
Yeah. It's like, well, I mean, Need for Speed, we're talking about that this week. Like, what's Need for Speed now compared to what Need for Speed was 10 years ago?
And we were talking about Doom earlier.
Yeah, so you look at all these franchises where, like, they don't think about the long-term success and how they're cultivating a fan base.
Starting and stopping.
Yeah.
Whereas Mario has always continued, and Metroid... All right, let's move on from. But I mean, you're right about the whole whale situation. But whenever I think about whales, I think about Free Willy, so I'm cool with that. It's always a good time when I think about whales. However, you're right that to really generate a large profit, you just basically make your game free and you just try and find those people with addictive personalities.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, it's based around addiction. This is not gameplay per se. But there's always like these small things. I was playing Peggle earlier today because I like playing Peggle, and I lost all my balls. I didn't win. I didn't win the stage, and they're like, "Hey, you want to keep playing? To spend 10 whatevers, and you'll get 10 more balls, and you can continue." It's like,
nah, no.
But someone else is gonna be like, "Yeah, oh man, I don't. It took me forever to get here. I can't start over. I'm on a roll." You know, it's basically no different from gambling, except you get nothing in return.
Yeah,
whereas gambling is very rewarding.
Exactly, and things like mobile free-to-play games and fantasy football, especially daily fantasy football, it's basically trying to be like a more legitimized form of gambling.
You mean like DraftKings.com?
Yes.
Which is one of the best places you can go to one day gambling. We'll talk more about that next week.
Or, whatever the other one is, too. There's another one, too, that's big. Like
they don't matter, because DraftKings is the best.
DraftKings, yeah. So, I mean, one thing you can say about Nintendo is all the mistakes they've made over the years, all the dumb things they do where you just kind of like shake your head and you're like, oh, Nintendo. They've never exploited their fan base, which is pretty nice.
I know. So did you get that new 3DS yet? Or did you get the 3DS XL? Or
I have 3DS XL. Well, they do have their hardware iterations.
Yeah, I was going to say, like...
I wouldn't call that exploitative because, I mean...
There's no 70s music and, that's...
No, I mean, come on. Like, seriously, like, if I have a DS and you have a DS Lite, is it the end of the world? No, I mean, I can upgrade if I want to, but who cares?
And it'll still play all the same games.
Yeah.
For the most part. I mean, I'm just more happy to hear that they're saying we're really going to try and think of something that will endear us to an audience as opposed to, and say what you will about something like Flappy Bird, but that guy, he made it free and just had advertisements. And I respect the hell out of that guy for that. Nyong or whatever his name was. Very cool guy. So if they're going to release something, I'm confused on what strategy they'll go with, though, because by saying, we don't want to charge for certain things, does that mean there's going to be a cost up front, maybe 99-cent games? Or will they be free to play and
I wouldn't be surprised if they took the Crossy Road approach, which, again, is like...
Purely aesthetic.
It's totally free, okay? And there's no ads or anything. But what you can do is, like, periodically, if you want to unlock characters, you can pay to unlock characters if you want, but they're just aesthetic, like you said.
But to be fair, they are incredible, and you should buy them all.
Yeah. Or the other thing you can do is you can build up the currency without spending money. If they say, hey, if you watch an ad, we'll give you like 5 coins. Just watch this ad real quick. Yeah, it's like cool. It's optional.
Yeah, because you just put your phone down. Who cares? Don't watch the ad.
Exactly.
Well, let's move on to Nintendo's more traditional mobile efforts because Pokemon Super Mystery Dungeon will be coming in winter. Winter of 2015, so maybe December. This will be another entry into the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, which are basically just dungeon crawlers and do quite well. Do you have any interest in this series?
No, I mean, they're just...
Okay, that was a casual. No!
Nah, I mean, I've never played any of them.
Okay.
It just seems like it's just Sharon the Wanderer or Etrian Mystery Dungeon or something.
Sharon the Wanderer?
Yeah, but just Pokemon.
Wow.
So I should be interested because it's a procedurally generated dungeon crawling roguelike. But I'm not. It's not my thing. There's too many Pokemon now. I can't catch them all or remember them all, and I'm not invested.
This will be coming out on the 3DS, of course, which I think is a huge mistake. Release it. Here's my thing. Why is we're going a little sidetrack. Why does the new 3DS exist? If your first party titles are not going to be exclusive to that system, I understand that you don't want to say, "Hey, thanks for all that money all those years. See you later, 3DS owners." I get that. They should, hopefully this E3, they have to be announcing, because, hey, this is Pocket Talk, we're talking about the new 3DS. They have to announce more new 3DS exclusives. I mean, otherwise, why sell that to begin with?
Mm-hmm.
I don't
know, man. That nub.
I want to use my nub.
Gotta nub them all.
Okay. All right. Octodad will be coming to the PlayStation Vita on the 26th, which is tomorrow.
Cool.
Oh, by the way, we should mention it's Memorial Day today. Happy Memorial Day from the PRESSURECAST. Moving on, we were talking about Crossy Road, and that is actually rather pertinent to our discussion right now, as Bandai Namco has announced that Hipster Whale, I love that name. It's so relevant to what mobile games are.
Great logo, too.
Oh, I love it. Hipster Whale will be releasing Pac-Man 2056, a brand new Pac-Man game. It is actually, that is in reference to the 256 glitch, which, crashes the game. Basically, you've seen it at the end of like King of Kong where they show where that everything freaks out. According to Matthew Hall, I was going to say Dean Hall, but he's from DayZ. Matthew Hall, he's the director at Hipster Whale. Playing Pac-Man in a seaside arcade in 1980 is one of my earliest memories. It is an incredible honor to be able to contribute to one of the most iconic video game franchises in history. Now, there's our franchise that keeps going, I guess. Our game, Pac-Man 256, takes the infamous glitch level of Pac-Man and builds upon this, becoming a unique game that retains the retro spirit of the original. So it's going to take place in the Pac-Man glitch.
That's cool.
I can't wait.
I think it'll be a lot of fun. Well, Pac-Man's an interesting case, too, because culturally, Pac-Man's been around in some form or another since, the early 1980s. But when I say Pac-Man, you think of the original Pac-Man.
And the cereal, of course.
Yeah, well, but I bet you're not like, oh, yeah, Ghostly Adventures 2. That's my shit.
I actually...
No one has ever said that sentence.
When I think of Pac-Man, and I'm being real here, I think of Pac-Man 2, The New Adventures.
Oh, yeah, because you're weird as fuck.
I love that game. Left. Right. I'm sorry, but that game...
Fucking manic depressive Pac-Man adventure simulator.
No. Pac-Man 2, The New Adventures is an existential study of modern man. I am dead serious. He has a family to feed. He has these small tasks. He can never get any work done because he has to take care of life, and that life keeps getting in the way, and that involves him being in like a minecart and watching out for birds. And, you can literally make him depressed. My favorite thing is having a nuclear bomb go off on top of his head when he's freaking out, and then he's stomping around, and he'll kick a dog, and then the dog will bite him. He has no ability to express himself. He used to freely run around eating pellets and meeting, cute girls with bows on top of their heads, and now he's been tied down to this
drudgery of the day-to-day.
Yes, it is such a brilliant game. I love that game. I love that game.
Middle-class ennui simulator.
And it does have versions of the original Pac-Man games. I think even Baby Pac-Man is represented somewhere in there, which is kind of crazy. Anyway, moving on from Pac-Man. The head of EA Mobile, Frank Gibil, he's French. Oh. So Frankie, the head of EA Mobile.
Click on Francois,
he will be leaving EA after over 20 years. Andrew Wilson said, he's the CEO of EA. Throughout a more than 20-year career, Frank has made many significant contributions to the company, our people, and our games, which is true. He's done a lot of work. I'm not sure where he's going next, but he says he's excited to explore his next challenge. Which, honestly, he did a lot. The mobile division of EA was one of the early mobile divisions where it's like, whoa, okay. Like Peggle, like, whoa.
Yeah.
Take this seriously. This is really fun to play these games. And
I heard he just bought Zynga for $30.
Well, maybe you should be buying Sega because they're probably pretty cheap. Here are the 19 mobile games that were removed. We already heard that Sega was removing 19 games, which were no longer in keeping with their standards or whatever. Here's what they are. Afterburner Climax, Jet Set Radio, Super Monkey Ball 1 and 2, Super Monkey Ball Adventure, Super Monkey Ball Tip and Tilt 1 and 2, Super Monkey Ball Touch and Roll, Super Monkey Ball Banana Splits, Altered Beast, Echo the Dolphin, Golden Axe 1, 2, and 3. They had Golden Axe 3 on there?
Mm-hmm.
Whoa, I did not know that. Phantasy Star 2, Streets of Rage 1 and 3. I guess they're keeping part 2 on there.
Yeah.
Smart move. Listen to that PRESSURECAST episode. Space Harrier 2 and Virtual Fighter 2. This is depressing to me for one reason, and one reason only. Super Monkey Ball was the game that convinced Steve Jobs to, embrace games.
Mm-hmm.
He literally loved Super Monkey Ball. If I'm not mistaken, it was Tilt or Touch and Roll.
Yeah. Well, Super Monkey Ball convinced Steve Cuff to buy a GameCube, so it's got a special place in my heart.
I love the original Super Monkey Ball. Super Monkey Ball 2, I think it's better single player, but I think the multiplayer got away from the good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Monkey Fight, so much fun. Oh my god, and Target, Monkey Target. Shit. Monkey Bowling. Ugh!
Well, the sad thing about all this is I know a lot of these are just ports to, Android or whatever.
Yeah.
But some of these are unique games or have unique features on the mobile platform, and now they're just gone into the ether. So from a historian standpoint, an archivist standpoint, this is super depressing, and it's one of the downsides of switching to digital content and not caring about archiving. And it's dumb because this is happening right now in video games constantly.
God bless pirates.
And seriously, God bless pirates. Thank God we are living in the digital age, the age of internet piracy, because if you look at early film, early radio, there's
what
nothing.
Is it? 95% of, or no, it's 90% of films from the beginning to, I think, was it 1920?
Gone. Nobody gave a shit. Yeah.
Never coming back.
Radio broadcasts, the only radio broadcast we have archived from like the 1920s and stuff like that, it's fucking pirate stuff. Mm-hmm. It's from pirate Mexico stations that would make these illegal discs of content to play and stuff. So some of the earliest recordings that we have from radio are just like bootleg copies of like Carter Family songs that were played on like a Mexican radio station.
And because of that, we've not only lost, and it's very hard to see what we have now, but because we lost radio, we lost the earliest days of advertising other than print. The earliest days of advertising, so that we take for granted, we've lost that history forever. With film, we've lost the craftsmanship, and now we just have to be like, oh, Birth of the Nation, it's so incredible. Well, what took us there? We'll never really know, now will we? Because there might have been a small film that was light years ahead of its time. And when you go and watch those silent films, most of the time they're from Germany, because they actually gave a shit and took care of their stuff. So hopefully someone's archiving all of these crappy downloadable games. Nevertheless, they influence history.
Yep.
World War III is going to start because of Super Monkey Ball Tip and Tilt. Wait and see.
Or Banana Fun, or whatever the fuck it's called.
What do you mean I cannot buy that game? Launch the missile! And we are getting back to normal. Let's take the mushroom, because we're going to get big. We are done with the pocket talk. What time we got here? We got plenty of time. We got the pressure points. We got the history. But most importantly, we have the idiot of the week. It gets weirder every week. This week's idiot is Dasura, the digital games distributor, who have been actually taking money from their users, and their users have been receiving the games that they bought. Oh, okay. Never mind. I thought they were the biggest idiots. Oh, wait, they're not paying, what's those other guys? Developers. The people that actually make the goddamn games, including Five Nights at Freddy's, Serious Sam, and Amnesia: The Dark Descent. Not big titles. I mean, big titles, but independent developers have not received payment. Oh boy. According to Lisa Morrison, who's the head of developer relations, that's going to be a great job.
Yeah.
I'm not blaming Lisa here. Lisa's...
No, she's clearly the fall guy.
Yeah. There have been... Okay, here we go. This is great. The issues have stemmed from a number of factors coming together in a bad way.
God.
Not to be confused with a good way.
What is this wording? You're really cementing yourself as bootleg Steam here.
The acquisition of the company last year has presented us with a number of very difficult issues to tackle, and we have been clearing those hurdles as efficiently as we are able. This has been compounded by the office being relocated and by the current hospitalization of our CEO.
Ooh.
That's actually a sad part. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, but I don't understand, there should be an algorithm in place. Why do they even need to pay out? Shouldn't it just automatically do these things? This is an Excel spreadsheet that someone didn't look at.
Yeah, it's you gave me $40? Hey guys, we made $5 and $35 goes to company X. And at the end of the month, the checks get mailed, or however they want to do it. Mm-hmm. But the very idea that they are taking money and not paying the people that made the products, I mean, consumer rights, blah, blah, blah. I'm more worried about the developers getting their end, because I don't know if you've noticed, but companies are shutting down left and right. And yeah, Five Nights at Freddy's isn't going to hurt. But come on, if they're taking mostly independent titles, ridiculous. They are, of course, owned by Bad Juju. There's some bad juju going on over here.
Lord.
So who do we blame here? Dasura or Bad Juju? Whose fault is this?
Dasura. I mean, at the end of the day, this shouldn't be an issue ever. Ever, ever, ever. And the fact that the people who aren't getting paid, it's games that presumably sell pretty well.
Right.
I mean, Serious Sam, Amnesia, Five Nights at Freddy's, these are all million-selling games. So it is a bit fishy if these are the games where the devs aren't getting paid, the ones that are probably generating a lot of cash flow. Because, I mean, there are legit games on this service, but, I mean, it has a reputation of, I couldn't get my repackaged Unity asset game on Steam because it's a pile of hot garbage, so maybe I'll throw it up here and see what I can get. And that's not everything either. I mean, there's also weird little experimental indie games that are up there, but now with sites like I think it's called like Itch.io.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like that's the go-to spot for weird shit now. I don't know. It's just kind of shady, man. Like, get your shit together.
Bringing up the CEO being hospitalized, that's kind of bullshit. Like, that's a very sad thing, but I don't need to know that.
And and again, like, what does that have to do with it? There's no explanation. Like, oh, he went to the hospital, so we forgot to mail the checks. Like, is he literally the guy who licks the stamp and puts it on the envelope, stamps.com, and then sends it?
Stamps.com, yeah. I mean, it drives me nuts because if you just think about it, any other business, it's kind of like, oh, the sandwich artist is sick, Subway closed, or I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, it's just there's not enough details, and we'll probably find out more later. But it's just kind of like, oh, that's sad.
Should never happen.
No,
they're taking money and they're not giving the money to the developers. Never happen. And because of that, Tzura, you are the idiot of the week. Gibbity 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 doo. The music went away. I never know what to say when the music goes away. It's so quiet in here. But I think we need to get to the final segment of the show. This is the part where we go through a bazillion stories in less than 30 minutes. Oh boy, here we go with the pressure points. Xbox's E3 show is going to be longer than the previous years at 90, count them, 90 minutes, not 89, not 91, 90 minutes. And it will be taking place on Monday, June 15th, 9:30 a.m., PDT.
I hope 80 minutes of that is dedicated to Cisco's performance.
Yes. Oh, Cisco. I love you, Cisco. Follow me on Twitter, Cisco. Also, moving over, Phil Spencer has said officially in regards to the Kinect, it's not abandoned. We'll continue to build functionality to make it a valuable part of the ecosystem. There are genres where Kinect works really well, but if you're playing Halo or Call of Duty, there's not really a scenario that says, hey, I need a Kinect. Well, Spencer is absolutely right. They will not abandon the Kinect. I firmly believe that, because they already abandoned it like 8 months ago. So, thank you.
Yeah.
I love the Kinect, by the way. The new Kinect is fantastic. I love that Fantasia game and Dance Central. So much fun. I mean, that Fantasia game, you literally get to remix Royals and bring in like a string quartet. It's so good. Watch the first hour on that.
I just picture you alone in your living room playing Dance Central for 6 hours, just like sweating to the oldies.
I actually was, I did play it for an extended period of time, just playing Happy, Pharrell Williams' Happy over and over again. That song is fun, man. I like dancing to that song. That's a good song. I love Happy. I think Pharrell Williams is a real talent. I honestly like him. Okay. More Microsoft news. Casey Hudson, the former director of the Mass Effect series, he's officially joined Microsoft, and he will be heading the creative direction of HoloLens. Here's what he had to say. I will also be working with innovative new Xbox titles, helping them to find success through clear direction and create vision. I will be involved in driving a creative focus for Xbox and Windows gaming, and I couldn't be more excited to be involved with that. Of course, though, he will be working on HoloLens. I guess that quote had nothing to do with HoloLens.
No.
But he's
standard PR speak. Good job.
Yeah, Casey Hudson, I don't know, he always reminds me of like a candy maker. Like Casey Hudson Taffy. You pick it up. With a name like Smuckers, it's probably not too good.
Your Billy Madison jelly commercial?
I don't know. Okay, Windows 10, of course, is coming to Xbox One, but we finally have some news on when we can expect it post-summer, because it will be released on, PC this summer. Are you planning to upgrade on summer, or are you going to wait a bit?
It's free, so if it comes out and the internet's not like, it's shit, then I'll probably just upgrade.
Aren't you worried about some of like your video editing software or anything just not being compatible?
Maybe. I mean, I don't think it'll be an issue. I mean, unless I'll check compatibility issues with Sony Vegas, but if there's not, then whatever.
I'm just nervous that things like Open Broadcaster, just,
Yeah, I mean, there could be. Again, I'm just going to wait. I'm going to wait it out and see, but it's got to be better than a pirated copy of Windows 7. Not that that's what I use.
I just hope it's as good as like Macintosh 10, and I'm not being sarcastic here, because I use versions like GarageBand 6.05, which is intended for 3 versions of Macintosh 10 ago. That's what I use, and it's still compatible with the current one, which I think is excellent. So hopefully Windows is taking that approach and trying to make it 7 and 8 compatible. Hopefully Windows 9 compatible, because, Windows 9, love it. But here's the Xbox One features you can expect on your PC with the Xbox app. The game DVR will be included, allowing you to capture and edit your videos. You can also view your achievements, see your friends, see their activity, yada yada, and also customize your avatar.
Yay.
Xbox One's over-the-air TV tuner is now available in stores for $60. It allows you, to actually watch TV over the air.
Now you can watch TV on your TV.
Yeah. Heard you like TV, dog. Well, Iwata apparently will not be attending E3 this year. According to Nintendo, Mr. Miyamoto and other members of our development team will be in Los Angeles to explain these games and unique experiences that each offers. Mr. Iwata's focus in this period will be in other areas of our business that require his presence in Japan. I suppose that's true. They are entering the brand new mobile space. Maybe they have something to take care of, but it's better to be there.
I don't think it's going to be a big deal. He'll probably still record a Nintendo Direct thing and just, do his whole spiel.
Good morning.
Please, understand.
Please be ready for me to stare at banana.
In this, the year of Luigi.
The year of Luigi. The worst year in financial history for Nintendo, by the way. Love that fact. Love that fact.
I love the year of Luigi. And it was extended a couple months, too. The extended year of Luigi.
The year of Waluigi. So, Nintendo also has hired a new lead sales guy. His name? Doug Bowser. So good.
Oh my god. Yeah, that was the best headline. I saw these headlines like, Nintendo hires Bowser. I'm like, what?
Well, he was freelance for a long time. He only made a select number of appearances. So now Bowser's coming in. He won't be able to retain his original name, King Koopa, for whatever reason. What happened to King Koopa? Why was his name not King Koopa anymore? Remember, it used to be.
I don't know. It changed to Bowser in Super Mario World.
That's true. Yeah.
I don't know. I guess that's when he branched out and had children.
Yeah. Well, he wanted to use his real name,
Yeah. Who birthed his children? Do you think Mario killed his wife and that's why he has a vendetta?
That would be... Well, he only has one child officially, Bowser Jr. The rest are just layabouts. Who knows who they are?
Nephews, nieces?
That's what Miyamoto says.
Who's his brother?
Ooh, boy. Maybe it's Wart.
Birdo? Wart?
I love
the frog.
Wart. I love Wart. I love Mario 2. Probably my favorite Mario game. Still to this day, even though I know Doki Doki Panic, whatever, I don't care. But Bowser will be in charge of forecasting sales of the upcoming titles. That was basically his role in EA, which he spent many years at EA. Nintendo apparently will be... Let's try that again. I'm not going to edit it. Listeners, did you hear that? That's me flubbing a line. Nintendo is going to be getting rid of the 8GB Wii U in Japan. According to Nintendo, it is slated to go out of production shortly. Though that will not be taking place in America yet, which is strange. I guess maybe it's because they have too many freaking, 8GB bundles on shelves right now that they have to get rid of. I don't know if they're making them anymore, but they're not going to announce they're getting rid of them.
No. I don't know why you'd want to own an 8GB system. That's like...
What if you want to download...
like one game, literally one game.
Yeah, 64 virtual console game. Nintendo, of course, was being sued by Icatus Ventures. They were a company that was suing them over the use of the Wii Balance Board. And they had a patent for something called Cyber Surfer. I know. Which
is a goddamn joke. There's been stupid plastic peripherals that you stand on since, like, the Atari era, so...
Yeah, the rock and roller on the NES. Well, guess what? Nintendo has won, so don't worry about that. The lawsuit is officially over, but that was in Slovakia, so, they could still be sued in other countries, but they won that case. Shuhei Yoshida, the boss of PlayStation, has confirmed that there will be a Bloodborne expansion. So DLC on the way. Who knows when? E3? You think we heard about that?
No, probably. Say something, or at least tease it.
Speaking of E3, I love it. Sony is already firing the cannons with their latest UK ad declaring the PlayStation 4 the world's most powerful console, which I'm sure PC users are snickering at. But I just love it being like, we're the world's most powerful console.
It's a very 90s approach to advertising.
Blast processing. So what is blast processing?
Do the math. The Atari Jaguar is the most powerful console ever.
God, there's so many like famous comedians now that were in like Atari Jaguar ads. Like I think Patton Oswalt was in one. Hopefully you got a free Jaguar out of there. Jaguars are kind of cool.
Yeah.
I like them. God of War 3 Remastered might have a hardware bundle with the PlayStation 4, according to Amazon France. Who were you expecting? Come on, it's always Amazon France.
It is always Amazon France.
Yeah, well, apparently it's going to have a release date of July 17th. PlayStation UK has said that there is no intention of bringing any sort of hardware bundle with God of War 3 Remastered to the UK. That's not a denial.
No.
It's not a denial. But if you do pick up God of War 3, or if you pre-order it, I'm not sure if you have to pre-order it through the PlayStation Store, or if you could just pre-order it in stores, I assume PlayStation Store, you will get a 90-day access to PlayStation Now rentals, including God of War and God of War 2, which is kind of cool. So you can play God of War, God of War 2.
It's not bad. Here's a better idea. Go to a used video game store and buy God of War 3 for $5.
I know. Okay, I can't help it. I'm kind of excited for this now. I'm a stupid person. I thought God of War 3 was one of, and I don't use this word ever, so you can believe me when I say, one of the most epic games I've ever played. Like, the scale of the first 10 minutes blew my mind. And I think it'll still hold up brilliantly. And they can increase the frame rate here and there. That's good. The resolution there was some screen tearing and resolution issues here and there, so a remastered might be in order. But I just like God of War. So that's my story. Well, let's get away from remasters and move on to Ultra Street Fighter 4, which will be available on the PlayStation 4 this Tuesday. It will actually support PlayStation 3 arcade sticks, which is very good news. And apparently they've been hard at work to remove the minor input lag that PlayStation 3 users had to deal with in the past. I can't wait. I love Street Fighter 4. I love Street Fighter 4.
It is fun.
It's so good. Oh my god. And did you see that M. Bison trailer for Street Fighter 5?
Oh yeah, I saw that.
I'm a little confused. It looks like he's able to reflect fireballs now, which is confusing to me because that was, what's her name? Rose? I think that was her ability.
Sure.
But she used Soul Power, which is the antithesis to M. Bison's Psycho Power. So that's a little confusing. Is he just realizing new abilities, or is he somehow using Soul Power? Which, I don't know. I need a narrative. I'm serious. I need a narrative explanation.
Deep dive into Street Fighter lore.
I love M. Bison.
Just watch the anime and then you'll figure it all out.
No, watch the American cartoon. Yes! Have you ever seen that GIF with M. Bison just going, yes?
Yeah. I've seen it.
Seriously, M. Bison going to jump on your head this Tuesday on Ultra Street Fighter 4 on the PlayStation 4, which apparently, I should note, in that trailer mentioned it was exclusive. It's not coming to Xbox One. Which, wow, that really sucks for Xbox One owners. I'm sorry, guys. I wish you could get that. Nobunaga's Revenge will be coming to the PlayStation 4 and PC later this year, but it will be coming to the West. Yes, America and Europe, starting on September 1st. PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, and Windows PC, according to Kenshi Ogasawara. Ogasawara? Oh my god. I can't read these names.
That was brutal. That was absolutely brutal.
Ogasawara. It is our distinct pleasure to be able to present the newest installment of Noganaba's Ambition to our Western audience. This, of course, is an incredibly important series that really created Koei, like established them. We would have no Dynasty Warriors without it.
And it's still like a turn-based strategy game.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
There's nothing new. They're not Dynasty Warriorsing it.
It is the 14th entry in the series.
Jesus.
Well, yeah, but it's been around for like 30 years.
You gotta romance those kingdoms, man.
It's been every other year. Give them credit there. As you should give credit to the H1Z1 title. So what do you do when you have cheaters in H1Z1? Well, according to Daybreak, you get rid of them. 25,000 accounts have been banned. And they've been referred to by Smeedley, the CEO of Daybreak, as cockroaches. Ooh. But there is a way out. John Smeedley said that he needs people to apologize. Many of you are emailing me apologizing and admitting it. Thank you. He's talking about cheaters.
Sure.
However, you're doing it wrong. If you want us to even consider your apology, a public YouTube apology is necessary. Please address your apology to fellow players, not us. Although you're hurting our business, this is not about us. I want to make sure that it's clear there are consequences for cheating. If these videos go far and wide, it elevates the importance of getting rid of the cheaters in PC gaming. I feel it's an excellent trade. I love it.
That's pretty cool.
And I've watched some of the videos, and people are just like, hey, I'm really sorry. You know, I screwed up. I apologize to all my fellow players. I hope I didn't ruin your game.
I got a better idea. So
Okay.
you
I'm ready.
get Joey Greco on the payroll.
No.
Former host of Cheaters.
Dude, he's going to get stabbed like 5 more times.
And he goes and he knocks on the basement doors of all these like teens that are cheating in H1Z1 or whatever game. I mean, if you want to do this for League of Legends, Dota, whatever. Counter-Strike. And then he just bangs on their door and he just blitzkriegs them with cameras and then accuses them of cheating and they have to admit to it.
From what I understand, that guy is so paranoid now. Like
I would be too. I mean, he's like a life destroyer. That's what he does.
Man, that stabbing video, hilarious.
Yeah, him on a boat just bleeding. We gotta get out of here.
That idiot. I mean, obviously he shouldn't have been stabbed, but
Yeah.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, so give Joey Greco a job.
Oh my God, I'm sure he's doing fine. He's doing fine. I always wish that I could see an episode of Blind Date crossover with Cheaters. Like, right in the middle of Blind Date, like, he shows up.
That sounds like such a video game thing. Blind Date cross Cheaters.
Yeah, Blind Date, cross Cheaters, Hyper Techno Remix. I'm playing as Joey Greco. All right. Apparently, Sony has created a brand new studio in Manchester, England. Tea and crumpets. Exclusively to create games for their upcoming Project Morpheus VR headset. They already have job listings looking for a small but highly experienced team. We are still in the early planning phase with this studio and are currently focused on hiring the right team. I think that's awesome. Hiring the wrong team would be the wrong choice at this time. Right team is right on. That's great. If you're hungry for some more Oculus news, well, wait until June 11th because that's when Oculus is holding a pre-E3 press conference. Exciting.
I'm waiting with bated breath.
Well, you're going to be having some heavy breath when you check out porn on your Oculus Rift because Palmer Luckey has stated the Rift is an open platform. We don't control what software can run on it, and that's a big deal. Meaning that all pornography will run on Oculus.
Cock Immersion Simulator 2015 confirmed.
Bukkake Simulator. Without all that messy cleanup, which is awesome. We also found out that NHL 16 will be coming this September on the Xbox One and PlayStation 4. It will have 6 versus 6 online team play. It will have online couch co-op. Yay! Be a GM mode. Be a pro, which means that whatever you do, you'll level up at, which is awesome. The Ultimate Team is back. They're also having visual on-ice training to help you get better at your controls, defense, all that good stuff. As well as precision skating, seamless puck pickups, and my favorite part, playoff beards.
Ooh.
Yes. As well as story-driven commentary. People are keeping track of your efforts.
Dynamic beard technology.
I guess in hockey, if you're in the playoffs, you grow a beard.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I don't pay attention to the sports.
I bet we'll get a teaser video where they talk about, like, beard tessellation and shit like that.
Oh, you better believe it. No word on PC release. I mean, EA doesn't release their sports games on PC. I'll never understand why.
I don't know either. I
Maybe
used to play NHL 95 on PC all the time, so.
Good game. Great game. Not as good as Mutant League Hockey, but good game. EA is also going to be releasing a Legacy Edition of NHL for the 360 and PS3, and they're being pretty goddamn upfront about it. They said they're only going to be receiving roster updates and schedules. There is nothing new about this game other than that. Just keeping it real. And real recognize real. As we should also recognize resolution. New Year's resolutions. I have no segue. Star Wars Battlefront apparently will run at 60 frames a second. However, the community manager of Electronic Arts has stated on Reddit, no one said anything about resolution. If you've heard anything otherwise, it's a rumor. We have only confirmed the game will run at 60 frames a second. Also confirmed, Ewoks on Endor.
That's exciting. Are they going to sing the song?
Chub Chub. Oh, I'm sorry. That song's not allowed anymore in the special editions. They got rid of that song.
They got rid of the song in the special edition? Why?
I don't know. Because Lucas.
They don't like hot Ewok jams?
I love, you ever watch Mission Hill?
No.
Oh my god. There's an episode where they're at Comic-Con, and this is like back in 1999 before that shit got, really big. So the jokes are just great. They have a panel with one of the people that played an Ewok, and it's like, how was it like working for the genius George Lucas? He goes, oh, it was great. We would dance and sing until he would clap, ending the dancing and singing. I screwed up that joke. I'm sorry. You gotta watch it. It's great. That character is voiced by Tom Kenny, though, which is really good. You gotta watch it. It's only 13 episodes. Mission Hill. Anyone listening to this, go look up Mission Hill. The best animated show ever to be canceled. I mean, the best. And I am an animated show snob. I mean, Duckman wasn't canceled. They just stopped making it. So otherwise it'd be Duckman. WWE 2K16 will be out in October. We know this much.
Yeah.
But on-air personality and king of Memphis wrestling, Jerry Lawler, was on a radio show, and he had some little bit of leakage. Not his usual form of leakage. Not his usual brain leakage. He accidentally revealed some modes on here. Let me see if I can do a Jerry Lawler impersonation. We're already working on that. A lot of people ask me about my old broadcast partner. I can't do it.
The puppies!
The puppies! They're having, in this year's game, a big Stone Cold Steve Austin Attitude Era section. And they have me and Jim Ross back together again in the studio doing voiceovers for that. So that's pretty exciting. I guess you'll be playing as Stone Cold Steve Austin in all of his battles. Which, honestly, in the Attitude Era, he was mostly injured. And
what?
Yep.
What?
Okay, stop. I stopped. Why won't anyone just acknowledge that?
I don't know. They just want everything.
Do you know that at WWE, they actually say, do not acknowledge the audience? They say, do not acknowledge the audience. That's like, they don't want you to directly speak to the audience. Mm-hmm. It's crazy. It's crazy. What other... If you were at a concert, you wouldn't just play the music and be like, here's the next song, and people are cheering. Oh, don't encourage them. Don't encourage them.
Although, if you're at a concert, I think, like, in between the verses, people wouldn't be yelling what at the top of their lungs.
That's true. Well, that's because they're being ignored. Just like Battleborn has been mostly ignored for the past few months. Battleborn is that upcoming Gearbox game, that first-person MOBA, whatever they want to call it. It has been confirmed for release this fiscal year, so before the end of March 31st, 2016. Also revealed is that there will be a major 2K games title revealed soon.
Alien Colonials Marines 2?
Who knows? According to 2K Games, we'll leave these announcements to the labels, but the announcement will be made soon. Let's look forward to that. Also, Rockstar Games is still exploring the possibility of single-player DLC for Grand Theft Auto 5. According to the CEO, Strauss Zelnick, we haven't discussed any story-based downloadable content. We did talk about heists. We have different recollections.
How about they discuss a Red Dead Redemption PC release?
There were rumors going around because Rockstar San Diego is currently looking for people for something. We don't know what, so maybe we'll get another Red Dead. Looking forward to that. Also, Capcom has outlined their plans to release more HD remasters. No titles are listed. However, in a quote from an unnamed source at Capcom, it is not a risk, but rather the growth of the download sales channel gives us more opportunities. Might want to proofread that. We regard this as growth in opportunities to have... We regard this as growth in opportunities to allow access for more people to enjoy our games. Steve, I want to tell you about our plans. We regard this as growth and opportunities to allow access for more people to enjoy our games. Try it today.
Oh dear.
I don't know what kind of HD remasters they could release. Lost Planet Trilogy?
I'd strike a deal with Disney and do the Capcom HD Disney re-release where they just put in, like, higher res filtered versions of all their NES games.
Yeah, but the best one was Aladdin on the Genesis, so... And that didn't involve Capcom.
Hot take.
Yeah. F1 2015, write in pressurecast@gmail.com or call the pressure line in the description of this podcast and let me know what you think about Aladdin.
Chippendales Rescue Rangers. HD remake.
F1 2015 has been pushed back to July.
What are we gonna do?
I don't know. At least we know it's coming fast. Final Fantasy 15.
That was fucking horrible.
Final Fantasy 15, that demo, will actually be getting an update to change a number of issues with the demo.
Looks like our fantasies become a reality.
Yes, that's...
You've been one-upped.
Yeah, this is true. According to Hajime Tabata, the director of Final Fantasy 15, a number of requests were made, and he has acknowledged a number of complaints. Here's a list of complaints. A first-person perspective. There's no precedent of applying patches to demos. Wait, I'm getting fucked up here. I just screwed up. I read the wrong thing. I copied. Oh, boy. Here's the complaints that he's addressing. One of them is a new camera, fixing frame rates, resolutions, and Cindy, the female character, being too sexy. But she is too sexy. I don't know why she's dressed like that. I'm not being a Puritan and be like, don't dress like that woman. I just don't buy into this character of being like, hey, look, I'm wearing a bra. Who gives a fuck?
It's crazy because like her limit break is just Right Said Fred music video.
Very good. Very good. I'm not gonna put it together. You guys at home have to put it together. Hellraid, the game that was being developed by Techland, is going to be put on hold. So, sorry about that. And Exiles, The Bard's Tale 4 is going to begin crowdsourcing on Kickstarter on June 2nd. Blizzard is hosting a selfie contest in World of Warcraft. You can either use the print screen functionality or that camera that you unlock after you surpass level 100. Gary Whitta, the writer of the World of Warcraft movie, or one of the writers, been a plethora of writers, he has confirmed that in his draft, Leroy Jenkins was in the movie, and according to him, he ran into battle too early. Come on, Whitta. Hope that made the cut. Heroes of the Storm, open beta is open right now. It will be officially released on June 2nd. Now, moving over to Slightly Mad, the developers of Project Cars, they had to address some controversy regarding the performance of Project Cars on AMD cards. People are saying, hey, what the hell's your problem? You made this for GameWorks, which is for NVIDIA, and PhysX, and everything sucks, and it's all your fault. Well, here's what they had to say. For the past few days, erroneous information posted on Reddit and other websites has spread misinformation with regard to Project Cars' performance on systems and AMD GPUs. To correct the wrongful assumptions regarding Project Car performance on AMD GPUs, the Madness engine, and the degree of involvement from our third-party technical partners, Slightly Mad feels compelled to point out the following facts. Fact: Project Cars is not a GameWorks product. NVIDIA are not sponsors of the project. Overall, PhysX uses less than 10% of all physical thread CPU on PC. It is a very, very small part of the physics system, so would not make a visual difference if run on the CPU or GPU. So, there you go.
So basically, a bunch of people went on Reddit and said, hey, this is running kind of shitty on my AMD system. And the developer said, no, it's not.
Well, it's not that. It's the conspiracy theory of they sabotaged it.
Oh, they sabotaged it.
They did it on purpose.
No, it's just optimized for NVIDIA shit. That's what it is.
Optimized vaccine. There's your PC column. There you go. That's what you can call it.
Oh, God.
There you go. Let's talk about the top 5 best performing YouTube video games. That's right. What games are people looking up and watching on the YouTubes? Here we go. We're looking at total views here. With 525 million, League of Legends. At number 4, Call of Duty with 860 million. At number 3, 1.17 billion views for Five Nights at Freddy's.
Jesus Christ.
Number 2, Grand Theft Auto at 1.39 billion.
Gee, I wonder what number 1 is.
Minecraft. I built the thing in a Minecraft.
Oh, that Dutch game.
3.9 billion total views.
Yeah.
You know what's not on here? Evolve.
It's true. Or Brink, for that matter.
No Brink. Number 20, though, is Destiny, so.
We're going to do a collaboration where you and I play Brink.
I'll do it. Why not?
Just you and me would actually be the only 2 people playing Brink.
I think that'd be awesome. And last on the pressure points, there is a rumor that Shenmue 3 will be at E3. I'm not even going to read the reasons behind it because it's such bullshit. It involves Ryu's jacket and leaves that split into 3s.
Colin's erection just burst through the wall.
I love Shenmue. Shenmue 2 might be my favorite game of all time. Still. Everyone shits on Shenmue 1, and I get it, but it's kind of like shitting on Harvest Moon. Like, you just don't get it, you know?
Have you thought about doing like a Let's Play or Long Play
of
the Shenmue series?
Well, I already did one of Yakuza 1, and then I'll do one of Yakuza 2, hopefully this summer at some point. I do want to play through all of Shenmue live. I actually bought an original Xbox so I could play my copy of Shenmue 2, and I still have my original copy of Shenmue on the Dreamcast as well as my Dreamcast. So that will all take place at some point. Garen, goddamn teen. I love Shenmue. Oh, I love Shenmue. I love it so much. How about a game of Lucky Hit? Do you want to play Lucky Hit? How about a game of Lucky Tit? All right, well, we're closing out the pressure points right now. The music is going away, but I do want to bring up one story. I brought this up all the time of Shenmue 2. You can get a job running a Lucky Hit, which is like a pachinko thing.
Sure.
You go first, and then the person that's gambling does it, and then if they win, you pay them out. Whatever. You are in first-person mode and just looking around going, how about a game of Lucky Hit? Do you want to play a game of Lucky Hit? How about a game of Lucky Hit? So moving to the left and moving to the right. And in the distance, this is me and Mike. Mike's been on the show before. This old man just sort of, appears. And he's marching so slowly towards me. Lucky hit, lucky hit, lucky hit. Just every step, lucky hit. Every single lucky hit. It's just not even breaking eye contact. Lucky hit, lucky hit, lucky hit. Walks right up to me. Would you like to play a game of Lucky Hit? Oh, I don't have any money. And it was like a good 3 minutes of just advertising to the single person. I love Shenmue. What do you say we close it out with This Week in History? 11 years ago, this week, Thief, Deadly Shadows, the third entry into the Thief series, was released on PC. Not a fan, Steve?
No.
Okay.
No.
Well, maybe I can turn that frown upside down, because 12 years ago, Return to Castle Wolfenstein Enemy Territory, which forever changed the multiplayer landscape, was released.
Yeah, that game was a lot of fun.
Also 12 years ago, WarioWare Inc. Mega Micro Games was released on the Game Boy Advance.
Awesome.
Allowing us to pick our noses virtually. Also, 14 years ago, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 joined the Game Boy Advance. I don't know. It was kind of a big deal.
It was, I own it. My brother owned it, and then I sort of ended up with it. It's very playable.
Very playable. I liked it. And they would release things like American Wasteland on the DS later on. That was also quite good. 14 years ago, Dark Cloud came to the PlayStation 2 and broke the hearts of many RPG fans, but endeared it to many others. I hear Dark Cloud 2 is one of the greatest of all times, though I've never played it. 23 years ago, Chameleon Kid launched on the Genesis. I just thought it was weird. Yeah, man, Chameleon Kid never went anywhere. And 29 years ago, this week, Dragon Quest was released in Japan on the Famicom. Can't say Dragon Quest changed everything. There'd be no Final Fantasy without Dragon Quest. Everything.
That's a big one.
Everything. So, all right, Steve. I think we should close out the show. Steve, where can people reach you and your great stuff on the internet?
You can reach me on Twitter at Steve Cuff. You can go to optimismvaccine.com to read awesome articles about movies and video games and television and popular culture and weird cult shit and bizarro stuff. We got a bunch of new content coming next week. You can also go to shepherdexpress.com and read the Optimism Vaccine column, which is a column that we curate every week where we find our best thing that our writers have written and we put it up on Shepherd for the masses. So, yeah, all kinds of great shit.
Very good. You can also find you on Twitter.
Oh, yeah, Twitter at Steve Cuff, Twitter at Optimism Vaccine. You can go to iTunes and listen to the OpVacCast, which is the podcast that I host. We got a new episode up this past week, and we got another one that we're recording next week. So
it's basically the same thing that you do now, but with drinking and more fun.
Yeah, it's drinking and more movie and film focused, less of a video game focus.
We talked about Mad Max.
Yeah, we talked about Mad Max.
What are you talking about?
So it's like the inverse of the ratio of the PRESSURECAST.
Yeah, there you go. That's a good point. Where you'll be like, how about that Mortal Kombat? Anyway, back to talking about Ignar Berman. What? Okay, but moving on. You can follow me on Twitter at Dr. Karate Chop or follow the PRESSURECAST at PRESSURECAST I had to remember what that was. You can go to youtube.com/videogamesardumb.com. Wait, don't do that. Go to youtube.com/videogamesardumb. You can listen to this every week on iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube, TuneIn Radio, and of course go to shepherdexpress.com. Unlike Steve, who curates, I just write one thing and go, yeah, good enough, put that up on there. This week, I'm going to be giving the second half of my list. Last week, I put out the top 5 Castlevania games. I was going to do them both, but I was like, I'll split it up a little bit because it was already like, I don't even know, like 2,000 words. I'm like, it probably is not necessary to put these together. So this week I'm going to be doing the top 5 worst Castlevania games. Please go and read that. I think less than 100 people read my Castlevania piece last week, which is really low for me. That was all sad.
It's depressing.
Yeah. Well, if you want depressing, this is your week because you want to read all about the worst Castlevania games. And trust me, there are some stinkers in there. P.U. Ugh, garlic, blah. All right. Steve, thank you so much for being on the show this week.
Thanks for having me again.
Absolutely. Again, I have you damn near every week. Well, I mean, and who knows, maybe 1 week, maybe you'll get hit by lightning, maybe I'll spontaneously combust and die, and somehow, someway, the nether realms will open up, and new episodes will hit the RSS feed, regardless of who dies.
I don't know. I like to think of myself as a aggressive, malignant tumor for the pressure cast. I'm just tough to get rid of.
Well, so is the Pressure Cast, as it is a tumor that grows upon all of us, because the Pressure Cast is forever. Ugh. PRESSURECAST, weekly video game news podcast, is solely owned and operated by Colin Tanner. Guests of the PRESSURECAST are not employees or freelancers of Colin Tanner, the PRESSURECAST, or VideoGamesAreDumb.com, and are not paid. Music featured on the PRESSURECAST is property of their respective owners, and no infringement is intended. For more information, email pressurecast@gmail.com.